Nick Abbot.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Abu Qatada. Blimey, he's been here long enough. You think I'd know how to say his name. Abu Qatada, expected to leave the UK in the next few hours. Woohoo! Don't let the door hit you on the way out. The radical Islamic... And does radical actually mean nutcase in this context? I'm just asking.
No.
No, apparently not. The radical Islamic cleric is to be flown to Jordan to face terror charges after a near decade-long battle to remove him from Britain. We've been trying to winkle him out. Have you ever eaten snails? That little sort of fork-like prong that they give you to winkle a snail out of its shell? That's what it's been like. He's been clinging on. This man's a Klingon. The 53-year-old, is that all he is? 53? What's he done to himself? Well, it's not alcohol. Maybe he needs some moisturiser. He should spruce himself up a bit. The 53, he could get some at duty-free, cheaper. The 53-year-old's being deported after both governments agreed to that evidence obtained by torture would not be used in any trial. Who cares? Anyway, we'll keep you updated. Isn't it exciting? I'll tell you what is exciting, is what's happening outside. Hot. After a damp and disappointing spring, summer finally began in a spectacular fashion, with temperatures as high as 27 degrees in London. That's 127 if you're on a bus. And there's plenty more sunshine where that came from, with the mercury expected to rise to 30 centigrade, an unheard of 86 Fahrenheit. That's going to be hotter than Corfu, what a scorcher, and Malaga, and New York, and Singapore. Forecasters are predicting we could be into the best spell of summer weather for 7 years. And if I had a choir singing Hallelujah, I'd be playing it for you right now. The weather is going to be much hotter than usual for the time of year, and many parts of the country will enjoy temperatures on a par with Spanish holiday resorts. Forecaster Tom said, parts of London have seen 27 degrees today. We haven't had the best of it yet. Tomorrow could be the best day of this spell. Most of the UK experienced widespread sunshine, although people in parts of northern Scotland were left clutching their umbrellas under rain and drizzle. Ha ha! I bet it's still raining in Glasgow. Those enjoying... Well, let me know. I spent 3 months in Glasgow once, and it rained every single day. I bet it's continued to rain from that moment to this. Those enjoying the sunshine today, thanks to a period of high pressure, can expect further balmy conditions for at least next week. Yes, that's right, 1 whole week. It's summer. Forecaster Tom said tomorrow is going to be around 30 degrees centigrade. Double it and add 32, and then some. That's a double. It's a 30. A double is it's about 58, and then add 32. 58, 32 is 8. That's about 90 degrees. It's close enough for maths. The last time the country enjoyed a long spell of warm July weather was 2006, which, when written down, still looks to me like the future. We're at 2013. Don't you find that a little bit surprising? I mean, I think the older you get, the more surprising you are at what year you're in. I'm not done with 1983 yet. It's 2013. Is it? 2013. Is there a paper? Sometimes I have to look at a paper to see what year it is. Is it just me?
Yes.
Last time the country enjoyed a long spell of warm July weather was 2006, which is about 6. That's about 6 years ago. About 5 years ago. 7? Recent years have seen us endure wet and overcast summers. Last July was the coolest since 2000, and one of the dullest on records. DULL boring, with many parts of the UK experiencing twice the normal rainfall, bringing flash floods to some areas. I've had that. Next week won't be quite as warm as the breeze starts to pick up. Well, I haven't actually been out today. I haven't been out at all today, but I bet almost the entirety of London is going, oh, it's too hot. Shout at people when they say things like that. According to the Met Office, most of us will continue to enjoy days that are fine, dry and settled with some long sunny spells, at least into the middle of the month. And when I first read that, like I said yesterday, I thought, the middle of the month, yeah! Oh, no, wait a minute, that's just next week. Just next week. Dry and settled right through to, wait for it, the start of August. Oh, finally it's here. The Met Office long-term forecast is for the high pressure to stay in place over the south of England for 2 weeks, making it stay warm or very warm. The month-long forecast is more uncertain, but predicts that the heat wave could last into August, and that's led to hopes that the best July since records began in 1914 is what we're experiencing right now. Hallelujah. And you know why that might be? It's all because of global waves. I am not making that up. Full details in just 1 minute. Let me set this up for you, though. I wonder how this will go. Badly, I expect. The phone number 0845 6060 973. Simple question, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Something happened to me. Now, it could just be something that happens to you or something that you actively went out and did. But something has just happened to me this week, a couple of days ago. It's something that I never, ever thought would happen. Something that I usually have to take drastic action to avoid. To avoid being overtaken by plastic shopping bags. Normally they're bursting out of every orifice. Open a cupboard and they just pour out. Open drawers and there's just loads of them in there and they just seem to multiply. You put them in a cupboard and you open it and they've been having hot interpersonal plastic sex with each other and just producing tons of the things. I never thought I'd be able to get rid of them because sometimes they're quite useful for, I don't know, putting wet shoes in that you don't want to dirty up your bag or emptying a small bin, or no end of uses. I tied some around my feet once to do some gardening. I looked fantastic. At least stupid. But because of the bags, these bags for life that you spend 10p on, you're supposed to get a bag for life, the stock of bags has been gradually dwindling to the point that I can actually see things inside my cupboards now. And I actually ran out for the first time in my life. I can never remember not having at least a dozen of these things somewhere. They've always been on hand. So for the first time in my life, I've run out of disposable plastic shopping bags. I've shown you mine. Now you show me yours. When was the last time you did something for the first time? 0845 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @lbc973. He said, confidently expecting that absolutely no one at all is listening to this show because you're all outside. And the reason that you're outside is because of planetary waves. There's weird weather happening all over the world. And the experts are suggesting that what connects this weekend's glorious summer weather with a record heat wave in Death Valley, California, which has just experienced the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth, and the devastating floods this spring in Germany, and the miserably cold March in Britain, unusually warm temperatures in Alaska, and many other examples of extreme weather around the world. It's all about global waves. It's a high-altitude ribbon of fast-moving air in the northern hemisphere called the jet stream, which appears to have changed from travelling in a relatively straight direction from west to east to a path that meanders wildly between north and south. A growing body of evidence suggests that something has happened to the jet stream. I bet it's us what done it. It's a river of wind which circumnavigates the globe at an altitude of between 5 and 7 miles at speeds of up to 200 miles an hour. Very dangerous. Over the past few years, scientists have noticed that it increasingly becomes locked in one position, sometimes for weeks at a time, bringing extreme heat or cold, as well as droughts or floods. This spring was a prime example. Instead of following its usual path to the north of Scotland, the jet stream shifted south for several weeks, and that's what brought the coldest March in 100 years to Britain, as well as devastating rainfall and floods to Central Europe, and record-high temperatures to Finland and Western Russia. And over the past week or so, it shifted north again, flipping to its more usual position over the top of Scotland, allowing a mass of warm air. Oh, so lovely. And sunshine. Remember that? which has moved over most of the British Isles from the Azores further south. The Azores, wherever they are. One possible cause lies with what's happening in the Arctic. See, it is us what done it. The Arctic's on fire. It's seen temperatures increase some 2 or 3 times higher than elsewhere in the world, and it's led to a dramatic and unprecedented loss of sea ice and a melting of the massive Greenland ice sheet, which you always have to say very carefully. Scientists know that the jet stream is driven by temperature differences between the Arctic and the latitudes further south. This smaller temperature difference, the weaker the jet stream... Wait a minute. The smaller this temperature difference, the temperature difference between the Arctic and latitudes further south, the smaller this temperature difference, the weaker the jet stream. And the weaker the jet stream, the more likely it is to meander. You know, like a drunk's walk. By the way... Let this be like a friendly word in your ear.
Warning! Warning!
Do not come into Leicester Square now. Don't even think about it unless you're here already. There'll be a lot of drunken meandering before the night is out. So this jet stream that I've been talking about is playing up, not just over Europe. It's meandered wildly this summer over North America, producing a sharp trough of low pressure over the central US, and equally sharp ridges of high pressure over western and eastern states. They're having crazy weather in America at the moment. The jet stream usually acts as a barrier between the cold mass of air to the north and the warm air to the south, which means that the meandering path of the stream is bringing colder than normal temperatures to places such as Waco, or Waco, as I prefer to call it, in Texas. And that saw the coldest July temperatures on record, where they are unused to the cold. And high temperatures in places like Death Valley, which recorded 54 centigrade. Wow! I bet people were just exploding spontaneously. What seems to be a feature of the meandering jet stream is that the wider it wanders, the more likely it is to become locked in one position for days or even weeks on end. And whatever extremes it brings are likely to remain in place for longer than usual. Aha! This is where it gets good. Arctic warming could be behind many climate extremes seen over the past few years, including the Moscow heatwave of 2010 and the Indus River flood in Pakistan of the same year, as well as the heatwave in the US of 2011. During recent weather events, these planetary waves almost froze in their tracks for weeks. So instead of bringing cool air after having brought warm air before, the heat just stays and stays. The outlook for Britain is for the current sunny weather to last for at least another week, and possibly longer. It's all about the planetary waves, baby.
Groovy.
And it's all our fault. All thanks to global warming. 0845 6060 973. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Nick Abbot, LBC 97.3.
LBC 97.3. What's BC 97.3? Call 0845 6060 973. Text 84850. Tweet at LBC 973. This is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbot.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Yes, the weather in the world has gone crazy. Just as a short addendum to what I was just saying, in America, the country's weather has reached drastic extremes over the past week. More storms and heat waves than they've experienced before. The East Coast sizzled at the heart of the holiday weekend, the July the 4th. As cities from Philadelphia to Boston issued heat warnings, while parts of Florida and North Carolina were flooded by heavy rains. And northeast New Mexico was bombarded by massive hailstorms that brought more than a foot of golf-sized hail. Can you imagine that? Several motorists were stranded by white drifts of golf ball-sized hail that had accumulated on the streets within about 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, there was a foot of it. Some people were stuck for 5 or 6 hours. Meanwhile, in Florida and North Carolina, heavy rains have flooded roads at near unprecedented levels, with more torrential storms being forecast in the upcoming week. Heavy rain has flooded roads and nearly a dozen buildings across the Florida Panhandle, and the downpours were showing no signs of letting up. And along the northeast coast, the National Weather Service issued an advisory for New York City, warning that it will feel like it's at least 100 degrees for quite some length of time. Another excellent reason not to go. 0845 6060 973. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Some suggestions coming in by text and email. Are they collated for my viewing pleasure? No. So I'll read them when they are. Now, this was in the Times today. It was something we were talking about yesterday. And I wonder if they're actually going to go through with it. I get the idea that they just don't care what we think. This is about the pay rise for MPs. And the headline is, warning of a catastrophic backlash over MPs' pay rise. And what on earth do they mean by catastrophic? And the word catastrophic is in inverted commas, which means they might be being sarcastic, or it just is a quote from somebody else. I think it's a quote from somebody else. Maybe they're being sarcastic. Above-inflation pay rises for MPs would be catastrophic for the reputation of politicians at a time of record voter disaffection. Experts warn. Do you really need to be an expert to figure that out? It's not that we're angry. It's just that we're disaffected. The standards watchdog, what a job that is. They're watching something that doesn't exist. There are no standards. The standards watchdog, in charge of politicians' pay, has begun preparing public opinion for proposed reforms to be tabled next week. Well, they're going to have to give us a good long executive massage to prepare us for that, aren't they? Sir Ian Kennedy, chairman of the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority, hinted strongly at a significant hike. He acknowledged that austerity made the issue even more controversial, but said that he would not shirk his responsibility to determine a fair salary for MPs who currently earn £66,396. But that's not what they actually earn, because it's expenses on top. And what do we say they are? About £120,000 a year, something there or thereabouts? To employ their wives or their sons or their close personal friends as their secretaries and assistants, and set themselves up in a nice riverside apartment, if you please. On us. You're welcome. Sir Ian said the new level had been set so as not to deter the less well-off from seeking election. As like I said yesterday, what are these people? Are they really expecting us to believe that they could earn more elsewhere? No, they can't. Well, they could take their expertise in what? And sell it on the open market? He said failure to tackle the issue once and for all risked leaving Parliament open to another expenses scandal as MPs found ways to increase their remuneration. I know I was talking about this yesterday, but it's worth repeating. It's worth writing down in red letters and underlining it. And putting triple exclamation marks by every comment. Are they serious? Then we need to pay them more so that they won't steal from us so much. It's priceless. Ruth Fox, however, she is head of the Hansard Society, which promotes public involvement in politics. Aren't they doing a good job? No, there's no involvement. Said research suggests that more than half of MPs elected in 2010 had taken a pay cut to become politicians, and that the long hours were more of a deterrent than pay. Right. You know, they might have said that they took a pay cut, but why would anybody take a pay cut to do a job that they knew came with so much vilification, that was a job that put them on a pedestal just for us, the public, to throw rotten fruit at them? Why would you take a pay cut to do that job, unless that you knew or was confidently expecting that you would do well out of it? They took a pay cut. Sure they did. The number of people certain to vote at the next election is already at a record low, Ms. Fox said. She's the head of the Hansard Society, which promotes public involvement in politics, and even she says that no one's interested. Mrs. Fox added, and if, as reported, IPSA recommended a pay increase of 10 grand a year, it would drive disaffection to truly dangerous levels. Well, what on earth does that mean? As the British people would go, they would say, oh, massive Gramble, something like that. Dangerous levels. What does she expect we're going to do? We're not French. She said, I think it would have a catastrophic effect on the public perception of politicians. No, it wouldn't. The public perception of politicians is already at a catastrophically low level. Sir Ian, speaking at an Institute for Public Policy Research event, warned senior leaders to enter the debate with care, because Desperate Dave has said, well, I don't know. He reminded them that IPSA, the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority, had the power alone to decide remuneration, and a Commons vote was not needed. He said, I am the decider, like George Bush.
Absolutely.
I am the decider, that's what he said. My hope is, he said, that as the discussion is joined, political leaders will accept that we have a job to do, which they gave us. And the job that they're doing, apparently, is to just give MPs whatever they want. Standards. Whew, calm me down. 0845 6060 973. Here from Wimbledon is a call Peter. Peter.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Peter.
Yeah, I'm doing something at the weekend. Hopefully, if I don't chicken out of it, I'm 60 and I'm going paragliding for the first time. That's something I never thought I would ever do.
Remind us what paragliding is?
I'm not absolutely 100% sure. I've seen it briefly on the internet. You sort of jump off a mountain but there is an instructor on your back on some sort of parachute. I haven't actually watched it because I don't really want too much information about it before I do it.
You want it to be a surprise?
Sort of, yeah. Otherwise, I might decide not to do it. And as I say, I haven't done it yet. So, I've got a young French woman friend who's a lodger of mine who lives out. And this is in France. We're doing this, and because she's done it, she said, and I'm going over to visit her. She said, "Oh, you must do it."
And you said, "Sure, why not?" You said, "Mais oui, bien sûr."
Absolutely. I'm still trying to learn a bit of French as well.
So you're going to jump off a perfectly good mountain?
Well, yeah, they are mountains. It's in a place called Annecy. It's overlooking this really beautiful lake. They do it all the time there. And
but how old are you, Peter?
I'm 60.
60 years old. How's your heart?
Yeah. Funny you should say that, because I have had quite high blood pressure and I've been on tablets and things.
Right.
But I think that's another thing, because I'm getting older now. I think, I don't care anyway now, you know.
Well, it's not that old, Peter. You don't want to extinguish your life just for a dare, just to impress a French lady. Is that why you're doing it?
No, it's just
Is that a yes?
Yes. Well, it's just the opportunity would never have come along. And funny enough, I went out to see her before, and I was quite claustrophobic, and I went on the Channel Tunnel. I never thought I'd do that either, but I did, and I was okay.
That's not so bad, is it?
No, not at all. I think I've overcome the claustrophobia.
Well, because there's lights in there. I mean, if it was dark, then that would be different. But you can concentrate your sight on what's inside, and then you can take your mind off what's actually happening just feet away.
Yeah, but it's something I never thought I would do, and on a far more mundane level.
Yeah.
If you'd have said to me when I was 25 that I would own a computer and have a sat nav and an iPhone. These things were science fiction when I was, going back to what, I don't know.
Well, these things were science fiction 20 years ago, Peter.
Yeah, I can remember the first guy I saw with a mobile phone in Trafalgar Square. This was in the mid-'80s, but it was like on a briefcase.
Yeah.
And this guy looked like a billionaire banker. He looked incredibly prosperous. And I thought, my God, he's his own phone with him.
Well, welcome to the 1990s, Peter. You've stepped into the old decade, and I wish you well. He's going to leap off a tall structure, but it's don't worry, because it's perfectly safe. 0845 6060 973. Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3. It's 10:30.
Thank you.
When was the last time you did something for the first time? I suppose it could also be when was the last time something happened to you for the first time? Let that be the undercurrent of the show, and we'll find where we get. 0845 6060 973. By text and email, I did Glastonbury for the first time last weekend, aged 46.
Rock and roll!
Have you washed the smell off you yet? I can remember doing Glastonbury for the first time, and it doesn't matter how many times I went to Glastonbury, you always got the same feeling when you came out. that ordinary life outside was boring. And the people outside were boring, with their boring lives and their boring concerns. And it also felt really weird to be inside, to be hemmed in by walls and a roof. It just felt unnatural. I can remember it well. But most of all, I just felt the disconnect between me and everybody else that you see once you leave those hallowed fields, particularly in a service station, which you stop at in order to, do your ablutions and eat something. And you're sitting there like in a cloud of dust, and everyone around you is just looking like with their boring concerns, their boring little lives. And you pretty rapidly become one of those people. Almost instantly, you wash yourself on re-entering your own flat. Ah, yes, I remember it well. Glastonbury for the first time.
Groovy.
Here is a call in Swansea. Hello, Noah.
Hello, Nick.
Noah.
A couple of weeks ago, I watched Logan's Run for the first time.
Logan's Run?
Yes.
Remind us of the plot. Spoiler alert.
Michael York is... I'm trying to remember everything now. It was a couple of weeks ago. But he has everyone in the dystopia... it gets killed at age 30.
Yeah, that's more or less it. Yeah, you reach the age of 30, and then for aesthetic reasons, you have to die, because it's a well-known fact that anybody over the age of 30 is saggy and baggy and not worth a second look. Am I right?
Yeah, but it's the
What?
It's the story behind that's more interesting, because Michael York's father was a family friend of my grandmother. And I actually met him when I was about 8 or 9.
Now, when you say family friend, are there inverted commas around that? Are we saying family friend?
I'm not sure of the exact relationship, because I'm recalling events here that happened over 20 years ago. But I do know that he was born in he was a family friend of my grandmother. He was born in the same market town in Wales that my grandmother was born in.
Name the town.
Llanddyfri.
Right. That's L-L-A something.
Dyfri.
Yeah.
It's quite easy.
L-L-A-N Dyfri, yeah.
Yeah. I went to the same university as Michael York's father, and I met him when I was about 8 or 9. His father now, because I remember about just over 20 years ago, my grandmother got Michael York's autobiography because of the family link, and
was she in it?
No.
Did she look herself up in the index?
Maybe, who knows? But that's so when I had the opportunity to see Logan's Run for the first time, I thought, well,
why not? Exactly. Yeah. And
it's a good film.
It's all right,
but I prefer V for Vendetta.
Right. But okay, but they're not in any way connected, other than they depict a dystopian future, like what you said.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Noah. I hope you were taking notes there, Amanda, because that was very, very complicated.
Yeah, but I've seen the film, so...
Logan's Run, yeah. It's when you get to a certain age, and then the state starts to kill you off. These days, it's called the Liverpool Care Pathway. If you're in an NHS hospital, I think it works that if you fall asleep for more than 3 hours, they execute you. I think I've got that right. 0845 6060 973. I had trepidations about how well this was going to go. When was the last time you did something for the first time, Amanda?
I had some frozen yoghurt for the first time last night.
That's about the most boring thing I've ever heard in my life.
And I told.
Frozen yoghurt.
Yeah.
And?
It was a healthier version than ice cream.
Well, healthier. Not healthy.
I said healthier
than ice cream. Yeah.
And it was really nice.
Although,
actually.
Is it? Because you would expect that skim milk would be more healthy than full-fat milk, right?
Oh, you were going on about this yesterday.
No, I was not going on about it. Going on about it. Explaining it, you mean? I was not going on about
You were
it.
a bit.
Was I?
Yeah, a bit.
That skim milk is
Yeah.
not... Really, I don't remember saying anything about
Or
that at
maybe
all.
it was somebody else.
I never listened to this show. It probably was another show.
It was probably somebody else.
Yeah, thanks very much for your support. She's working on this show. She's not even listening to this show. Can you believe it? She's in
I
there.
am
She's
listening,
got
but-
Classic FM on.
It's very relaxing.
No, they've just found out. I swear, these people should definitely make up their mind. They've just found out that skim milk is worse for you than full-fat milk. I am stunned. Because it's, oh, I can't remember. Who cares? You can't eat anything anymore. You can't have coffee, and you can't have chocolate, and you can't have oranges because they rot your teeth, and you can't have apples because there's too much sugar in them, and you can't have meat. So yummy. Because, where do I even begin? Sausages are out, and anything that's barbecued will kill you immediately because of the cancerous properties of charring meat, which I'll be doing in extremis tomorrow. Speaking of meat, by the way, the animals appear to be attacking. It's almost as though the animals have had enough, and now they're beginning to get their own back. There's an area of Newquay which has been turned into a war zone by menacing seagulls. Now, this has been creeping up on us for a little while now, and it appears that the seagulls they've finally taken matters into their own claws. The birds are hunting in packs, ripping food from the hands of unsuspecting tourists. There's a street called Bank Street in Newquay, which is a hotspot for rogue gull activity and has been dubbed Seagull Alley. Teenager Joe, who was enjoying a visit to the Cornwall resort with friends, said a seagull had sunk its claws into its pizza. He had a piece of pizza, and, but then it was no more. Within seconds we were mobbed, he said. There was dozens of them. It was carnage. Well, you know, teenagers, they do. They're free with their words. They do whatever the word is. I can't think what the word is. Over-express themselves. They over-emphasise. What's the word? Yes?
Yeah, that's right. It's not overemphasise.
Not really.
What? Seagulls. Seagulls can't overemphasise something, can they?
See, like I said, she's not listening to this show. It's a disgrace. According to scientist Peter Rock, Cornwall's gulls travel in gangs and use a pincer movement to snare their prey. Holy smokes, this is like a dinosaur movie. One feigns an attack, so they're not this smart, surely. He said one feigns an attack, so the target pulls their pasty out of the way, while other gulls sneak in from behind and grab it. Can you believe it? There have been abrasive reports about vicious seagulls this week. Postal deliveries to a road in Cornwall were stopped after a postwoman was dive-bombed. Residents suggested that the birds should be culled. But Mr. Rock warned all pest control does is move the problem from place to place. The solution will only come through science. Yes, we could shoot them with science. Woman with a hand in the air.
I used to live in a coastal town.
Really,
and-
that's nice. Yes.
And I can confirm
Yes.
that seagulls are absolutely terrifying. And I once had to crouch down, like, in the street.
You do
Had to
understand
get
how
right
big
down.
they are, don't you?
Yeah, they're massive.
No, they're not. They're very, like, compared to you. Even you, as diminutive as you are.
Yeah, they're huge.
Very, very small.
And we used to have a fight with them as well every time we had to leave the house because they were. We had a roof garden which we had to walk through, and the
Oh,
rubbish was at
get
the
you with
bottom.
your fancy roof garden.
And the rubbish was at the bottom, and they used to stand there, ripping the bags open, and you had to get past them, and they used to stand there fronting up.
What?
It was absolutely terrifying. They're horrible.
Poor little birds.
And a pigeon flew in my face once.
They-
That was
they-
really unpleasant.
They hate you.
They do. There's a conspiracy.
Meanwhile, a woman in Eastbourne was told that there would be no further deliveries to her home until the threat of attack is removed. That's what the postal office said. And at the Glastonbury Festival, huge swarms of seagulls picked over the litter. Oh, I tell you what, I've never seen so much litter in my life as after the Bruce Springsteen gig at the Hard Rock. It was, that entire area was devastated. It was, because it was very, very windy that day. in the Olympic Park. And at the end of the thing, once all the crowds had gone out, because I was in the backstage area with the VIPs. I don't know how I got in there, but I managed to wangle. Well, I do know. I know somebody who was organising it. I wasn't there because I was a VIP. I was going there because I went there because I knew somebody who was organising the backstage area, which was a phenomenal place. If only everybody could have gone there. It would have been ruined because there'd have been too many people there. But it was just amazing. It was so amazing that I missed Bruce Springsteen. How very shameful is that? I sat backstage for the entire time, sucking up free cocktails and food, and forgot to actually see the act. What an idiot. Anyway, at the Glastonbury Festival, huge swarms of seagulls picked over the litter. The Western Daily Press reported that after one unlucky music fan dropped their food on the campsite, around 200 gulls launched themselves on it within 30 seconds. In Cardiff, plastic gull eggs are being offered to businesses in the hope of reducing the nuisance caused by the birds. By replacing real eggs with fake ones, the gulls have fewer chicks to protect, and the council hopes that it could reduce the number of attacks. Gulls are known to be more aggressive in the summer, when they are nesting, and act protectively towards their young. Well, you know what? This is something that they will shortly learn. So do we humans. Watch out, we're coming for you. 0845 6060 973. Here's calling Wapping. Hello, Isaac.
Hi, good evening.
Isaac.
First of all, I just want to say that I do enjoy your show, and I enjoy your humour, and I do enjoy your sarcasm as well.
Thanks, Isaac.
No, that's okay. Just a compliment or two. Secondly, first things, I went on a boat trip last weekend, Sunday, beautiful day it was, if you remember, down to Hampton Court, along the river.
Ah, yes.
Absolutely beautiful. Just the views and the sights of London. And
there's something very peaceful and calming about the speed at which you're allowed to go down the river as well,
yeah,
isn't it? Walking pace.
It was like a four-hour trip, but absolutely just very, very beautiful. London is the most amazing city with amazing buildings and amazing sights.
It's what I always recommend tourists to do. If the tourist is coming in and they want one recommendation from me, then that's what I would say. I'd say take the boat from Embankment to, the opposite way that you went, to Greenwich.
Yeah, I've done that as well, but just going up to Hampton Court and just seeing the sort of central London through to the suburbs and then, up to Hampton Court.
Well, where does one pick up the boat to Hampton Court?
Westminster.
Ah.
Just very, very easy. Get off Westminster Station, all signposted, and just a phenomenal trip. If anybody ever fancies a nice day out. And
do they serve refreshments?
Yeah, they do all that. Beers and teas, coffees, toast, the whole lot. A la carte service, one could call it, for considering.
Right.
Can I just go on about another little thing here?
Yeah.
That has really, really, really bugged me. Someone that I know very, very well, an accountant, had a job with some part of the National Health Service. It was the National Health Service, but it's, what division, I'm really, really not sure.
The killing division?
Something like that, yeah. The story is this. They had to buy 300 iPads. Okay, why they had to be iPads, I don't know. But the iPads were for the use of staff.
Yeah, management, most likely.
Something like that, yeah. 300 management. I don't know where, they get that many managements from. But anyway.
Oh, they got plenty more like that.
Well, hang on. So this guy is an accountant, and his brief in life is to try and save companies' money, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is what accountants got to do.
Right.
So you have a look at what they were paying for these iPads, and then he had a look on the Apple website.
Yes.
And he saw that this National Health Division was paying £25 an iPad more than the official Apple website.
And they were buying 300 of them?
300. Not 3, 300.
Yes.
And he went to his manager, and he told his manager, hey, what's going on here? I can save you thousands of pounds. Just give me the opportunity to go and renegotiate the contract.
Yeah.
And his manager turned around and said to him, don't worry about it. It's all sorted, all signed off, and just forget about it. It's all happening. This is your money.
Yes.
This is every listener that's listening to this. This is what's happening in the National Health Service.
Well, this is this happens not just in the National Health Service, in every major organisation that is not taking close attention to what it is that they're spending. It's because people who enter into these contracts aren't the people who will benefit or pay for them. It's not coming out of their budget, and they don't care. They just want to get on with their day. They just want to sign off on it and then move on to making coffee or having a sandwich or whatever it is.
It's a public service.
Yeah.
And anything to do with a public service, they got an absolute open checkbook.
What is that noise, by the way?
Someone's trying to call me, but they can wait.
That's the strangest phone ring I've ever heard. It sounds like music by Stockhausen.
I've switched it off.
Sounds like somebody's playing a saw.
It's gone. That's Apple for you, see. Anyway, I thought I'd tell you that. I've got one more story if you want to hear. It's to do with the National Health Service.
Go on.
Okay. About 4 weeks ago, my mother was unwell. She's in her late 70s. So she doesn't live far from me. So I went round to see her. It was about 5:30 in the evening. And I could see she was absolutely not well. So I phoned the GP, and and the GP was literally a 5 minutes walk away from her. So I said to him that, is there any chance someone to come round and see my mum? She's really, really unwell. So he says, no, can't do it. Phone 999. So I said, but you're around the corner. Why do I need to phone 999? It's a lot of stress to do that. He says, no, absolutely not. I said, well, what about if I come? What if I bring her round? Drive her round to you? Absolutely did not want to know. And in the end, I called 999, and the paramedics came out, and they looked at her, and they checked her. Thank God everything was fine. But, I just cannot understand the logic of a GP refusing to see a patient.
Well, don't look for logic in the NHS, because it will be a forlorn search, Isaac.
Yeah. It's just it absolutely killed me. I mean, I offered to take my mum round. Because then it was 6 o'clock. So he says, we're closing now. But, people get sick at 6:05, at 6:10.
Yeah, and at the weekends too.
6:30.
Well, here's a tip. Don't get sick after 5. Don't get sick on the weekends. Don't get sick on a bank holiday, especially around Christmas or Easter.
He would not appreciate
And
that.
don't get sick in August, because that's when the new crop of junior doctors arrive at hospitals, and they've got no idea what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Isaac, thanks for all the bad news. Cheers, mate. 0845 6060 973. You want more bad news about the NHS? The NHS watchdog, the NHS, by the way, practically perfect in every way. The NHS watchdog, implicated in a cover-up over a hospital where babies died through neglect, spent £785,000 last year on 11 lobbyists. The Care Quality Commission admitted earlier this week to putting its own reputation before the truth and said there had been a culture of incompetence, suppression and oppression. Well, that sounds like a department of the state, a culture of incompetence, suppression and oppression.
Correct.
However, despite promising a radical overhaul of the organisation, the watchdog's bosses are recruiting a new spin doctor with the task of expertly managing its reputation. It's the modern way. Don't fix the problem, fix the perception of the problem. And then the problem is solved. The new recruit will be joining an 11-strong public affairs team. What the hell do they need that for? 3 of its members are paid £63,000 a year. Total spend on public affairs team has risen from £593,000 last year to £785,000 this year. Over £750,000 of your money is going on a lobbying team to send out the positive PR, which they wouldn't need to do if they were, actually doing something we could be proud of. Charlotte Leslie, a Conservative MP, a member of the Health Select Committee, said, There is one very simple way for the CQC, the Care Quality Commission, to get a good reputation. That's to do its job of protecting patients, which is exactly what I just said. Is she not listening? She's not listening to me either, Amanda.
What?
The CQC, said Charlotte Leslie, a Conservative MP and member of the Health Select Committee, said the CQC should spend less time polishing its reputation and more time highlighting the awful things in hospitals. The former head of the CQC and 2 other senior officials were named as being at the heart of a cover-up concerning the University Hospitals of Morecambe Bay NHS Foundation Trust. The Health Secretary. Pop quiz. The Health Secretary. Anybody? Anybody at all? Health Secretary? Major prize? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Time's up. Jeremy Hunt. That Jeremy. He's put his faith in the new management team to establish the truth about what happened. You can't handle the truth. However, David Pryor, the CQC's new chairman, said David Behan, the new chief executive, there's so much management. We're drowning in them. They faced questions about their own transparency, the new management. They were forced to apologise. They're so sorry, after trying to hide the names of individuals accused of the cover-up on the basis that publishing them would infringe data protection laws. Never mind the patients, protect the management. The police have also been asked to investigate evidence that the watchdog prevented potentially damning emails from coming to light. Grant Thornton, the management consultancy that reviewed the CQC's conduct, was denied access to historic emails because officials claimed they were only archived for 1 year. They were, in fact, archived for 6. David Behan, the new chief executive, also defended his disgraced executive team in May and threatened legal action after the Telegraph exposed their failings. Wow, the Telegraph have been on a purple patch lately, eh? Earlier this week, MPs criticised the watchdog over plans to appoint a £53,000 strategic marketing and communications lead. The new employee was expected to, quote, manage the Care Quality Commission's reputation, improve our relations in Westminster, and ensure CQC's interests are represented externally in the wake of the scandal. Their interests. And a spokesman for the CQC said, don't question us, peasant. He didn't say that. He actually said, nothing to see here, please move along. He didn't say that either. He said some stuff about it being necessary to have so many people to burnish its reputation, and I'm sure the families of the dead patients would agree with that. Whew! Is it getting hot in here? 0845 6060 973. When was the last time you did something for the first time? This message says, I went on a boat trip to Greenwich for the first time because of what you said. It was great! Exclamation mark. It is great. Travelling by the Thames is without question the best way to go through London. There is no doubt about that. It's like being wafted to your destination on a cloud of brown filth. Don't drink the water. No, seriously, it is great. And they just improved the bus service, like I'm saying, on a daily basis on this show. Use it, or they'll take it away again. But if you're in want of something to do over the next week or so, and you've got time off, or you're not working, or you're retired, or you're skiving, then I recommend taking a trip on the river. No doubt about it. It's an excellent day out. Don't forget the sun cream. 0845 6060 973. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Or when was the last time something happened to you for the first time? I suppose that would fit too. 0845 6060 973. Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3.
On FM, online and digital radio, this is the UK's Station of the Year, LBC 97.3. This is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbott.
Alrighty then.
Keith Richards gets a flashback. Yeah, I'm sure he does. I bet his whole life is lived in a flashback.
Yowza.
He must have flashbacks like you and I have a cup of tea. Woo, woo!
Rock and roll!
0845 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at lbc973. Now, I watched the coverage of Glastonbury, much of it on fast forward. But I stuck around and watched some of the Stones, and the thought that occurred to me is, please, you've delighted us enough. Stop doing it. Amazingly, they've all still got their hair. Or have they? They all still have they sport a full head of hair. But Keith Richards has done the one thing that you're not allowed to do as a rock star. It doesn't really matter how old you are, because they're breaking new ground as rock stars. I mean, we're all growing older as the people that initially started this whole thing as teenagers. They're getting older. The only old person that that we initially had when this whole started, when rock and roll began, was Bill Haley. He was 86 years old at the moment of his birth. He was old. But all of the, the teenage young thrusters that started out this whole thing that we call rock and roll, they've got old for the very first time. We're the first generation that is experiencing old rockers. And, what? Are you shouting at me now?
Just saying that Julian's been on hold for quite a long time.
Well, it says 6 minutes on my screen.
That's long enough, isn't it?
No, that's nothing.
It's been longer than 6 minutes.
I used to have people wait for an hour.
You used to have people wait for an hour?
Yeah.
Not on my watch.
Well, no, not here. There was somewhere else.
He's been on longer than 6 minutes anyway. He'll tell you how long when you speak to him.
Did you just interrupt my excellent story about the Rolling Stones? Tell me about...
Was it going somewhere?
Wow. Well, you'll never know. You don't listen. I am stunned. Can you believe that, Julian? He's just gone. Now, where was I? I don't know if I have the strength to go back now. God, you're supposed to be helping me. It's the first time that we've experienced old rockers, and it seems a bit wrong because it's supposed to be a young man's game, right? But get used to it, because this is what the future looks like. People that you grew up with are going to continue to make money, because why shouldn't they? Just because they get old doesn't mean to say that they have to shuffle off and die. I mean, it's the same with actors and actresses. You see a picture, and, there's some newspapers that are notorious for this sort of thing. They'll put a picture of a star in their youth next to a picture of them in their current dotage. And your immediate reaction is, what have they done to themselves? Well, what they've done to themselves is they just lived a while. That's all. But the one thing that you're not supposed to do as a rocker, it's okay to get old these days. It is all right. Neil Young is still producing fantastic music, and he's a great live act, and he's really, really old. And the Stones, well, they can still play right enough. It's just that they look a bit weird now. They look like, well, Keith Richards particularly. The thing that he's done, which you're not allowed to do as a rocker, is to get a gut. As long as you stay skinny, it doesn't even matter that your hair falls out. You're just not allowed to look as though you've strapped a beach ball under your shirt. And he has strayed that way, sadly. He's probably going to have me killed now. But he also looks as though, and I don't mean this to be offensive, it looks as though he's cut the face off a dead man and he's wearing it as a mask. I'm just saying. Here is that caller that we were discussing at length some moments ago in Brookman's Park. Hello, Julian.
Good evening. How are you?
Julian, I'm very well, thanks.
Yeah, good. Look, I was growing a beard while I was waiting.
Finally, we get to speak.
3 things, if I may.
Yes.
One, the first thing I haven't done for a long time, before, is actually to speak to you.
Wow, haven't I been lucky?
So it's a pleasure to speak to you.
Well, that's very nice of you to say so. Thanks, Julian.
The other thing was, I think the word you may have been looking for before, I think you're saying the students use these long words, was over-exaggerate. Over-exaggeration.
Yes.
So, not wishing to be too pleased with myself, but I am.
No, you should be.
And the third thing, if I may, is just a little bit of advertising for a local village fete. I don't know if I'm allowed to go any further.
Is it for charitable reasons?
It's to raise funds to put wire netting around the play area again for the children's play area. So we
wait a minute. You raise funds for wire netting. How much is it?
Well, the wire netting it's about 10 foot tall, and it's probably about sort of 50 metres of it. And
right. Well, you need that to keep the kids in.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no gates going in, just wire netting.
Yeah. Quite right too.
So it's like the chain link they use for tennis courts, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Every now and again you could throw some food over, but as long as all the kids are penned in there, then just let them get on with it.
Absolutely. Well, that is the idea. So, but the village is Little Berkhamsted.
Nonsense. There's no such place.
There is indeed, because I live there. So, and it's near Hartsford, between Potter's Bar and Hartsford. It's a little village.
Yeah, he's just making this stuff up. Potter's
I'm not
Bar.
making it up. I've lived there 11 years now. It's a wonderful little village.
If you say so. This is man's having with one of these Keith Richards flashbacks.
I beg your pardon?
Is this real life?
It is real life. I'm a real person talking as well.
Okay.
So I was just hoping to get a little plug for it.
Well, it sounds like you did, and you're going to have lovely weather for it, Julian.
Fabulous weather. We've got classic tractors coming up, little steam train, pigs, donkey rides,
and all that stuff.
Things.
Yeah, farmyard animals for all the family. Well, it sounds like an excellent day out. Thanks a lot, Julian. 0845 6060 973. For the first time, Friday, we ate eggs from our own chickens, says June. Oh, that's the wrong one. It was close. No cigar. You ate eggs from your own chickens. Ugh. Eggs come out of chickens' bottoms. Isn't that horrible? I think I've got that right.
Is it the bottom?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. This time I did something... The last time I did something for the first time was today, says this one, when I actually bought a radio with me on holiday, just so that I could listen to you. Are you crazy? Hey, that's not a holiday. You don't take your life with you on a holiday. You leave it behind. See, a holiday is you don't read the newspapers from home. You don't see television that you recognise. You know, on if you watch any television at all, it'd be on something like a channel that you never would ever watch at home. Like, I don't know, CNN. Just to pick a name out of the air. And you don't discuss the weather at home or anything like that. You subsume yourself. Is that a word? Sure, why not? You subsume yourself in wherever it is that you've gone. Well, maybe he came to London. We don't know where he went to or where he went from. Here's a call in Slough. Hello, Mick.
Hello, Nick.
Mick.
Hi. Yeah, just want to let you know, just one thing I've never done before, and I've done it once, and that was fly on Concorde.
Ah. Did you get a souvenir?
Well, I've got the menus, still got my ticket, but I've got everything, yeah.
When you were on Concorde, did it seem like an incredibly loud plane?
When it landed, it did, yeah. When it took off, it didn't. It was just very smooth, but when it landed in Heathrow, it was extremely loud. Extremely.
But what about when it was in flight?
There was you can't see anything out the window because it's so high, and there's a very high-pitched noise, but the windows are very, very small, and you can't see a lot out of there, to be honest. You can't see a lot at all.
Yeah, I was more referring to the sound, though, with your ears. Could you hear this, because on the ground, Concorde was one of the loudest things I've ever heard in my life, despite the fact that they said that it wasn't. Oh, yes, it was. I'm just curious as to what it sounded like when you were in it.
Right. Okay. Well, sorry, when we took off, I expected it to be extremely loud, and it wasn't at all. And when we hit Mach 1, which is obviously the speed of sound, I expected to hear a noise. There was just a bump. When we hit Mach 2, there was another little bump. But the only real noise that I recognise is when we actually landed, when they put the thrusters on to pull it down at Heathrow.
And what were your fellow passengers like?
Oh, they were taking photographs of the actual screen saying hitting M1 and hitting M2. But, yeah, it was quite excitable because it was 2 weeks before it was actually decommissioned.
Oh, right. So is that why you went on it? Or were you going somewhere? You just wanted to take the flight rather than you were going to New York, for instance?
Yeah, no. It was the flight. I didn't actually fly to New York. Well, I obviously flew to New York, but not on Concorde. Flew on a 747, but on the way back, I took the BA2 flight back.
BA2, that's Concorde, right?
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Okay.
BA1 used to fly from Heathrow to New York, and the BA2 used to fly back.
And so how much did that cost? Too much? Just the right amount?
Just the right amount.
Right, just the right amount. Memories, what memories? You can't put a price on them, eh, Mick? So you didn't get a commemorative dish or anything like that?
No.
Because I've got a commemorative dish. I mean, I never flew on the thing, but I know somebody who did.
Right.
I'll pop it in the post, Mick. How does that sound?
Okay. The food was great, though. I had lobster.
So yummy. OK, well, thanks for passing that on. Cheers, Mick. 0845 6060 973. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3.
Whatever you're looking for, call 850, tweet at LBC 973. This is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbott.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
When was the last time you did something for the first time? Oh, and full disclosure, by the way, that's a lyric on the most recent Van Halen album. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Text me, baby!
Rock and roll!
Or you can call 0845 what is it? 0845 6060 973. I'm fairly sure that's what it is. Some text and emails. I went to a barn dance for the first time last night. It was awful. I got a complimentary plastic cup of Carver, though. As though that saved the evening. A plastic cup of fizzy paint peeler? You're not selling it to me? Carver? A barn dance? Have you ever done the do-si-do, Amanda?
I have.
This says, last year we had a hose pipe ban and it rained all year. This year they tell us 10 years of no summer and we get a heat wave. Can they please say that I will never win the lotto, says Declan. That's right, they did say that. They've only just got through saying that we were going to have 10 years of no summer. I'm not hallucinating. They actually did say that, didn't they? They've only just drawn a breath since saying that. 10 years of no summer. That is what they said.
Liar!
And now they're saying we're going to have the greatest summer that you've ever experienced in your life. This says, Nick, I am finding this weather much too hot and uncomfortable. Oh, don't say it. Don't be one of those whiny people that complains every time that the temperature either goes below 70 or above 72. Just stay indoors. Stay indoors and open the windows. Don't go outside. I didn't go outside yesterday or today. You know, because I was preparing for this excellent show, as you can imagine, Amanda.
Yeah, that shocked me that you actually prepare for this.
Crystal Palace. Hello, Malcolm.
Hello.
Hello. Malcolm.
Hello.
Malcolm.
Yeah, it's my first time experience. I'm going to be staying in a World War I trench on Monday night.
What?
Exactly, yeah.
An actual trench?
Yeah, World War I trench. It's an experience that's set up by historian Andy Robert Shaw. I don't know whether you've heard of him.
No.
No, he does stuff for television and stuff, and he's recreated the World War I trench. And yeah.
Well, where's this going to be?
Down in Sussex.
And so what are you expecting?
Well, we're going to be wearing the uniforms. We're going to have the guns, and we're going to be down in the trenches. And apparently, they're going to lay on a firefight at some point in the middle of the night.
Trench foot.
Yeah, trench foot, exactly.
Now, you know those... I had to break the news to you, Malcolm, but you know those old uniforms, they're made of wool.
Yes, I know. I've been warned about this.
Thick, scratchy wool.
Yep, yeah, I'm going to be down there in the trench, and I've already been down there. The officers' quarters is, of course, at the back of the trench, nowhere near the front. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So, are you taking anything with you, or is it all? I mean, is it all like proper? Is it? You don't get to bring a flask or anything like that.
Spare pair of pants and socks.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Huh. And why did you sign up for this?
It was actually a Christmas present.
Wow.
From
anyone you like?
Yeah. Yeah. It was actually, I saw it on television, it was, and I said, oh, that looks really good.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, I got it for Christmas.
You should always be very careful about what you say out loud, particularly in November and December when people are racking their brains trying to decide what to buy you.
Exactly. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Why not?
Well, why not indeed, yes. And, well, you won't get the weather that is traditionally associated with being in a First World War trench. It's going to be much, much nicer than that.
Well, it actually got cancelled the first time I should have been down there because of the bad weather.
Really?
So it's rearranged. So,
but that would surely make it more more real.
Real, yeah. But the organiser said no, it's too cold. The snow was coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But it's got rearranged for Monday night. So I'm looking forward to it, though.
Will you get shot if you don't go over the top?
Well, the officer will probably be standing behind me, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I wish you the best of luck, Malcolm.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, mate. 0845 6060 973. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Or when was the last time that something happened to you for the first time? Here is a call in Poplar. Hello, Jeffrey.
Nick,
Jeffrey.
how the hell are you?
Very well, thanks.
This is good. I've got 3 quickies.
Yeah.
First time I've done anything, I pressed the button on my computer, and it did something I wanted it to do.
Like what?
Well, it sent a picture to someone.
Oh,
However,
I see. Photograph, eh?
That's the fella.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a problem with your caller, the one before last.
You know, there's just on that issue, there's several buttons on a computer keyboard that are a complete mystery to me. Like,
yeah, I've got the same computer.
Like PRTSC, for instance. What does that mean? There's a whole button.
Don't press it.
Scroll lock. I've no idea what that is.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go there either.
Pause break. What's that for?
That's for the adverts.
And what about the F1 to F12? What do those buttons do? No one has any idea.
No, it's true. So, call before last. BA BA to New York.
Sysrec. Explain that to me. SYSRQ. Meaningless. Yes, Jeffrey. New York.
Got something to do with your sister. BA Flight 1 to New York.
BA Flight 1 to New York.
Two, back from New York.
Yes.
When BA1 gets to New York, what happens to it? Because if only BA2 comes back.
Well, I think it's probably the same plane. They just rename the flight.
What, they change the numbers? Like on
yes, probably.
Can I do a baffle from last night?
Yeah, why not?
Why do bees make honey?
Is it not to feed
their... Not to put on your toast, no.
To feed their young? Isn't that what they do it for?
I don't know.
Well, somebody will know.
Someone, somewhere.
You know, if only there was a source, or like a worldwide source of information that you could, glean whatever it is that you are after. Some sort of screen-based technology, Jeffrey.
What, you mean like your girl in the other room?
Exactly. She'll find out. Thanks a lot, mate.
They're on it.
0845 6060 973. You know, I find it quite both sad and a relief that Concorde is not flying anymore, because anybody who's been under the flight path of Concorde will know exactly what I mean by that. It's the loudest thing that's ever been allowed to fly over a public place. And they pretended that it wasn't, but it absolutely was. And now there's been some research into the noise levels at various airports. Stansted Airport handles almost 50 times as many passengers as Heathrow for every person affected by aircraft noise. A new discussion paper from the Airports Commission is found. And the study will form part of the Commission's analysis of where to build new runways in the UK, and it finds that more people are affected by noise at Heathrow than at any other airport in Europe. Heathrow handles far fewer passengers and aircraft movements than any other British airport for every local resident disturbed by aircraft noise, so says the Airports Commission. And the study demonstrates that if noise was the only factor taken into consideration, it would be much less disruptive to build a new runway at Stansted, for instance, or Gatwick, or Luton than Heathrow. The Commission's 67-page report uses traditional measure of evaluating noise exposure at a level of 57 decibels over a 16-hour period from 7 in the morning to 11 at night. And at a level of 57 decibels, the Commission's report finds that 258,000 people suffer from noise pollution at Heathrow versus 1,900 at Stansted. Lowering the decibel count to 55, the study finds that Heathrow is by far the most noise-polluting of Europe's major airports. About 750,000 people affected at Heathrow versus 43,700 at Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport.
Want to score some pot?
And a spokesman for the Commission stressed that the study was only a discussion paper and not meant to hint at any decision. And it plans to publish a shortlist of possible sites for a new runway by the end of the year, with a decision in 2015 after the next election. They're delaying it. Or they're delaying telling us what the decision is. Many people believe that they've made up their minds already. And a spokesman for one of the airports said that we encourage airlines to fly only their quietest airlines into London. Right. Which is a bit like... it's a bit like saying that we encourage only the quietest rock concerts in our parks. It doesn't matter that you can pretend they're quiet, because the people who flew Heathrow, who flew Concorde, they pretended it was quiet. They must have bust a gut in order to get past some noise level test when they first arrived. They probably stripped out all the seats and did something complicated that must have burnt an enormous amount of fuel in order to pretend that they were quieter than they were. How they got away with it, I have no idea. Because it didn't matter how high it was flying over you. It still stopped all conversation. Even in the wilds of Berkshire, when it was still just a speck in the sky, you had to stop talking when it went over. And they're still talking about that. Charging airlines more for noisier aircraft, and they've got schemes to insulate local properties. Charging airlines more for noisier aircraft. They're planes. They're noisy. 0845 6060 973. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Nick Abbot, LBC 97.3. It's 11:30. With Zora Solomon.
Thanks, Nick. A Boeing 777 jet op.
850, tweet at LBC 973. This is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbott.
What number are you calling from?
0845 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC973. Amanda, what the hell are you doing in there? Stop doing whatever you're doing and get in here and do your work. No offence, but, taking control of absolutely everything to do, I don't know, she's ordering pizza or, I don't know what she's doing. What are you doing? I hate this weather, says this message. It's not healthy. Drive me to the autumn and step on it, says Phil in York. What, even in York? It says, my mum recently had a cataract operation and came home with a free iPad. I wasn't expecting that. Came home with a free iPad. Hi, Nick. I recently saw Frankie Valli at the Royal Albert Hall, and at 79 years old, he was fantastic. I took my 90-year-old father, and we were both bopping, says Linda in Berkshire. What an image, Linda. When was the last time you did something for the first time? 50 years ago, I lived next door to the scientists who proved for Pratt and Whitney that Concorde was too loud. And then he worked for Rolls-Royce to prove the opposite, and it flew after all, says Mike in Greenford. Yeah, they were lying about that. Not very loud, they said. Oh, yes, it was. Caro says, I tried oysters for the first time the other day, and it will be the last time. Well, it took me about 45 years till I got up the courage to have an oyster, because, they look... Why would anybody want to do that? Why would you want to put something in your mouth that's food that you can't chew? I didn't really understand the concept. And then I had one, and I thought, oh, you know what? It's actually just the thought of it is repellent. But you sort of roll it about your mouth like, it's like a great big globule of snot, isn't it?
Oh, do you know, why did you have to illustrate
I'm
that?
just saying that it's a great globule of snot.
It's
that's
not.
All.
It's snot.
I'm just saying.
Well, you didn't need to just say.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, you've just said that, so let's... I've heard something pretty gross about oysters that I probably won't say on air. Oh, actually, I'm going to.
No, don't.
You drink them with... You know that you have them traditionally, like, with beer?
Beer?
Yeah, like, say, I had oysters in Whitstable when they had the oyster... they had an oyster...
Great oyster giveaway.
Oyster thingy going on, yeah.
Yeah.
And you traditionally drink it with beer, but...
Do you?
Yeah. But with any alcohol, apparently it ferments in your stomach and it actually kind of carries on living.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I've heard that about mussels as well. So your moule marionnaire, when you have it with your wine.
Yeah, but they're dead already.
They're not, are they?
Mules?
Are they?
Well, they get boiled so that their shells are open, don't they?
Yeah, you've got to eat the ones with the shells open.
Yeah. But they're dead, though.
Are they dead, though? Are they dead, though?
Well, they should be dead.
But oysters are not dead.
Yeah. They should... Well, yeah, aren't they?
No.
Can I request that all food that I put in my mouth is executed before I do it?
Would you ever go and choose a lobster from a tank?
Yeah, why not?
Would you?
Why not?
You'd be all right with doing that,
yes.
I'll
have that one. But I seriously doubt that they'd cook me the one that I point to. They'll just cook the one that's going off in the kitchen, won't they?
Well, they'll probably do that with you, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's wrong with that? You select the one that you want. I mean, they're going to kill it anyway. Whether you select it or not doesn't make no difference. They're going to boil it alive. That poor lobster, wrenched out of its undersea lair and then plunged into a pot of hot water.
You're supposed to freeze them
The screaming
first.
of the lobsters.
You're supposed to freeze them first.
Why? Because it's polite.
It's more humane, yes.
Yeah. They're still going to get eaten.
Would you go
Yes.
into a... Would you select a lamb from a field and say, I want that one?
Well, that's going a bit far.
How is that different?
Well, plus, how long would you have to wait for it?
Well, it depends if you had it...
raw?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have it raw, please.
I'll have lamb tartare.
Don't kill it, just stun it. It's a call in Leytonstone. Hello, Sophie. Have you ever heard anything like it?
No, and it's making me feel queasy because I'm a vegetarian.
A little bit queasy, yeah. Can I offer you a sausage, Sophie?
No, especially not me. I'm Muslim.
Right.
I missed over an hour of your show, so I'm a bit upset today.
Oh, well. It's available on podcast, lbc.co.uk.
I don't have a computer at home, unfortunately.
Oh, well, like I said, you're screwed.
I'm a bit of a technophobe. It's the first time...
You don't have a computer?
No.
Do you have a smartphone?
No, I have got the most ridiculously basic phone. All the kids in school cannot believe that...
You're a teacher, aren't you?
Learning support, yep.
And you don't have a computer? Do you know how to use a computer?
I use the ones in the school.
Oh, okay, so you know how to use one. Because as a teacher, it would probably be necessary for you to do that.
Send emails.
Yeah.
Check emails.
Right.
Cut and paste.
Look stuff up on the World Wide Wait. Right? You can do all that.
Yep, not look for concert tickets. Look for school-related things.
Right. Concert tickets. Hey, you know, the B-52s are coming in August. The B-52s.
Rock and roll!
Excellent news. I can't go because it's on a Friday.
I was going to attempt to get Bruce Springsteen tickets, but I didn't bother in the end.
Well, I did have Bruce Springsteen tickets, and I still missed him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I've missed him. I've seen him 3 times now, and I've missed him almost totally every time. First time I saw him was about early 80s, 82, 84, something like that. And I can remember it well. It was a beautiful, balmy day. It was the Wembley Arena. No, the conference centre, not the actual football stadium, but the centre that was just next door to it. And I was hanging around at... No, actually, it was actually the stadium. Yeah, that's right. No, wait. No, it was indoors. It was indoors, and there's a conference centre next to the indoor Wembley Arena. And there's a big ramp. I don't know if it still exists, but there used to be a big ramp. And I went up there, I repaired up there with my mates to drink and, enjoy the sunshine while it was still out. And there was a great throng of people outside. And so we thought, well, we'll use that as a barometer of when to, get our act together and go in. And the throng stayed outside for ages, about hours. And we got through the beers and we were having a, jolly old time. We thought there's no point in sitting inside some sweltering indoor venue while it's pleasant outside. What are you doing?
Oh, sorry, I'm making a cup of tea.
Oh, well, you carry on. As long as it's seemly. And,
I'm not doing anything uncouth.
Right, and... yeah, keep it couth. And after a couple of hours, we thought, you know what, that sort of that music that they're playing before the band comes on, they usually play like a holding music to keep the crowd amused before the band comes on. Even from outside, we thought, that seems quite loud. But there's about 100 people still thronging outside. I'll just mosey down and ask when Bruce is on. And they said he's been on 2 hours.
The one and only time I ever saw him in 2008, and I said, I wonder who the support band is. Yeah. And my brother, who's been following him for about 30 years, he looked at me horrified and he said, support band?
No.
He never has a support band.
No. Well, at the Hard Rock, he had the Counting Crows as the Black Crows, one of those crow bands, as the support band. And I didn't bother with them.
No,
because I was in the exclusive area backstage, Sophie, sucking up free booze and food.
No.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Oh, no.
It was so fantastic that I thought, well, you know what, I'll go outside for the last hour of Bruce. Because he came on at 7, and we were expecting him to finish at 11. He did not finish at 11. We thought, well, let's go outside now. And he said, thank you very much, good night.
What time was that?
10:15.
Oh, because he's scared, you see, because last time he was playing, they cut the power off.
I know. It was a different venue, though. It was, and when I eventually emerged at about 11 outside of this area, there was nobody outside at all, but there was about, as an approximate figure, I would say 68 million tons of rubbish blowing about the place. I've never seen so much rubbish, airborne, wind-blown rubbish in my life.
See, I'm from the East End of London. I only live a couple of stops from where the concert was. People are being disrespectful to East London, thinking, because it's so awful anyway, this won't make a difference. But
it was like entering. It was like going from the best that the first world can provide in this exclusive backstage area, going out into the third world. It was instant awful.
East London is lovely.
Well, around the park, the park itself is looking great, actually. It's going to be a lovely place to live. You've got the shopping centre at Stratford, and then the park itself is looking a delight. So that whole area is certainly coming up.
Definitely. It's done a lot for the local area. But so I didn't see him because of all the other bands. I just wanted to see him, so I didn't bother. But the thing that you have done for the first time, the last time...
Yeah, what's the... when was the last time you did something for the first time?
I missed Wimbledon. I've missed the whole of Wimbledon for the first time in my whole life
Is it because you finally realised that tennis is really, really interesting?
Boring!
No, my TV has actually gone kaput,
Oh,
and
right.
I've been ill this week. And it was a few months ago, but because I don't watch a lot of TV anyway, LBC is always on when I'm not at work. But I've really missed it. I've really, really missed it.
Well, you know what? I mean, as much as I've been making fun of it, apparently it's been an excellent tournament so far.
No, I was a little bit disloyal, I have to admit. My dial is always locked onto LBC, but a friend, knowing my predicament...
Well, don't mention any other radio stations.
No, I won't. But I did listen to commentary on...
Another radio station, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I can never really understand that. Commentary on tennis. On the radio.
No,
that doesn't make any sense to me at all. No sense at all. Oh, and that's a backhand, and he hit it, and then here's a forehand, and how interesting would that be? I just don't get it. I mean, if you can't watch it on TV, just it's gone. You're not going to recreate the experience in your mind by listening to some bloke try and keep up with it verbally.
I don't think I'll ever do it again, to be honest, because by the time he told me that it was a backhanded...
Yeah. So the game was over.
Shot, a slice across the court. The other one had already hit about 10 shots.
Yeah.
And I was going completely doolally. So.
I mean, even football is a weird experience when you listen to it on the radio. I don't really understand that concept either.
No, it was...
but at least it's slow enough for somebody to be able to explain it to you without... while sort of keeping up with it.
They try so hard to add so many adjectives and superlatives to the shots that they're on the 20th shot by the time they've finished describing the first one. So.
A backhand sliced cross-court lob. Yeah.
But who are you rooting for tomorrow, Nick?
I don't care. I'm rooting for my barbecue. As long as I don't burn the building down, then it'll be an excellent day.
I did send you a text yesterday saying do not eat barbecued food because it's carcinogenic.
Yeah, I know that. You're not supposed to eat barbecued food, and you're not supposed to eat sausages or prepared meats of any kind, and you're not supposed to eat... you're not supposed to drink a lot of booze, and you're not supposed to sit in the sun. And I'll be doing all of those things, Sophie.
Warning!
I'll be lucky if I make it through the day alive.
Australia has the highest incidence of cancer, and, it's got so much sun, and they have so many barbecues. There must be something in it.
Well, it's not the barbies, it's the staying out in the sun while you're eating the barbie what does it. And it's the strength of the sun. Sun is very, very strong at the moment, and I've got my 50-factor sun cream ready and waiting to go. I'm going to squirt it on me.
I know I said yesterday, I'm so sorry, Scottish people. Scottish people are very nice but always angry. But can I just say, even though Djokovic is one of my favourite players, can I just say, come on, Andy.
Right. Okay, sounds like you said it. Thanks a lot, Sophie.
Thank you.
0845 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @lbc973. Hang on a minute. Whoa! Dinner just backed up on me. Did you get any on you? What?
Really? What, from snot to dinner backing up on you?
You are disgusting. Hey, guess what? Snowden, Edward Snowden, might soon be living in Iceland. Or any one of a number of other countries that have all said, please come with us. They're fighting over him now. Whistleblower Edward Snowden might soon be living in Iceland as lawmakers there have put legislation on the table that would make the NSA's, the National Security Agency's, most wanted man a citizen of the polar country. So he must be weighing up his options now based on the weather. Granting citizenship to Snowden, who admits revealing key details of US surveillance activities, would circumvent the rule that he must be on Icelandic soil to apply for asylum there. Ogmunda Jonasson, whose Liberal Left Green Party is backing the proposal along with the Pirate Party and the Brighter Future Party. I don't know. I mean, Iceland sounds like a pretty groovy place, no? Iceland's parliament, known as Althing, saw 3 online Freedom Movement Pirate Party members elected in 2013. Hey, where are our Pirate Party members? We ain't got none. They got the Pirate Party and we got... What? What have we got? Got nothing. The ruling Conservative and moderate parties could halt the bill. Boo! And some have speculated that the country's president, Olafur Ragnar Grimsson, could succumb to pressure purportedly being placed on international leaders by the evil US government, with whom we're very disappointed.
Absolutely.
Snowden is believed to be stuck in a Moscow airport transit area seeking asylum from more than a dozen countries. He's throwing out his love, see what he gets back. Snowden has claimed the US hacked into communications in countries across the world, which has caused international outrage, with leaders of European countries such as Francois Hollande. Snowden has so far applied for asylum in 21 countries, but faces a thinning list of options after Finland, India, Ecuador and Poland rejected his plea, and a number of others said applications can only be made in person on their home soil.
Warning! Warning!
It's a trick, don't go. Just a thought, though, for the American authorities and all the other governments that are up to their necks in espionage and underhand dealings and worse. Stop trying to keep your secrets secret, your dastardly machinations a secret. And how about just stop being evil? I know that sounds like a revolutionary concept, but it just might work. Just stop being evil for a while. But it looks as though he may also be going to Venezuela. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has offered to give humanitarian asylum to NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden. President Nicolas said, as head of state of the Bolivian Republic of Venezuela. Did you know that Venezuela was a Bolivian republic? A Bolivian Republic of Venezuela. I thought that Venezuela was a country and Bolivia was a country. Didn't you think that? As head, he's the president. He doesn't even know where he is. Now, is there anything that Bolivia produces that might make him confused? As head of state of the Bolivian Republic of Venezuela, I have decided to offer humanitarian asylum to the young Snowden. That is what President Nicolas Maduro, the Venezuelan president, said. He said this is to protect the young man from persecution launched by the most powerful empire in the world. Yes, but what if the empire strikes back? Moments earlier, Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega, said his government was willing to give asylum to the US fugitive, offering a glimmer of hope to Mr. Snowden, who's been in limbo at Moscow's international airport since June 23rd. They're fighting for him now. Lady with a hand in the air?
I was in Nicaragua last year. I recommend that Snowden takes up that one. It's
Really?
absolutely gorgeous.
Is it?
Mmm.
Sizzle it for me.
Sizzle it?
Yeah.
You want me to... What do you mean, sizzle it?
Well, it's a phrase that is used in the restaurant trade. If you're trying to push a dish, then you sizzle it to the customer.
I
You
thought
say,
you were being down with the kids or something.
no, it's a catering trade. I think it's an American catering trade.
Right.
If somebody says, oh, we've got this special on today, it's a chicken with it's just got chicken with
with what?
I don't know.
What's the chicken come with? Sizzle it for me.
with a
come
duck in it.
on. You've not sizzled it at all.
We stuff a live duck up a dead chicken
Now you're talking.
and put it in a bucket on your table. You know, sizzle it.
Okay, well, I think Ed would do well going to Nicaragua. The
Right, is this
people
you
are really
sizzling it?
friendly. You did, yes.
Well, no sale. What else have you got?
You didn't even hear me say
Well,
anything.
you're rubbish at this. You've got a limited window of opportunity. I mean, the customer is not at
You
your...
suggested putting a live duck up a chicken.
Yes.
And that's your suggestion for
Well, that's our
sizzling
dish of the
something.
day. Take it or leave it.
Leave it.
Right. Where am I? President Daniel Ortega of Nicaragua says that his government is willing to give asylum to the US fugitive. He said the Nicaraguan embassy in Moscow received Mr. Snowden's application for asylum and that it is studying the request. I hope I never have to say Nicaraguan embassy again. Try it yourself. We have the sovereign right, he said, to help a person who felt remorse after finding out how the United States was using technology to spy on the whole world, and especially its European allies. Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega said. It sounds like it's war to me. Mr. Snowden has applied for asylum in 27 countries as he tries to evade the evil American empire for disclosing a vast US electronic surveillance program. But his bids have been rebuffed by several European nations as well as Brazil and India. The 30-year-old former National Security Agency contractor, however, has received more sympathy from leftist governments in Latin America, for whom we should give our thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The offers came amid the ongoing fallout over the rerouting of Bolivian President Evo Morales' plane in Europe earlier this week, amid reports that Mr. Snowden might have been aboard. Can you believe that? Spain on Friday said that it had been warned, along with other European countries, that Mr. Snowden was aboard the Bolivian presidential plane, an acknowledgement that the manhunt for the fugitive leaker had something to do with the plane's unexpected diversion to Austria. It's unclear whether the United States, which has told its European allies that it wants Mr. Snowden back, warned Madrid about the Bolivian president's plane. US officials will not detail their conversations with European countries, except to say that they have stated that the US's general position is that it wants Mr. Snowden back. They're being very casual and calm about it, but I bet they're screaming in private. President Barack Obama has publicly displayed a relaxed attitude towards Mr. Snowden's movements. Well, he displays a relaxed attitude to anything, including walking. He is the loosest-limbed president ever. He just looks a little bit too relaxed. And he's the person on whom the hopes of a young generation were pinned. It's not that we're disappointed. No, it is that we're disappointed. We're slightly angry and disappointed at the same time. But the drama surrounding the flight of the Bolivian president, Evo Morales, whose plane was abruptly rerouted to Vienna after apparently being denied permission to fly over France, suggests that pressure is being applied behind the scenes, even though President Barack Obama has publicly displayed a relaxed attitude towards Mr. Snowden's movement, saying last month that he would not be scrambling jets to get a 29-year-old hacker. It is disappointing. We thought that he was... we pinned our hopes on a hope, and we have been cruelly disappointed. Here comes the new boss, same as the old boss.
Absolutely.
His call in Virginia, USA. Hello, Jerry.
Hi.
Jerry.
Good evening, Nick. I also listen to James O'Brien, so I have not looked this up on the Internet, much like the Mystery Hour. When you mentioned that the Venezuelan president was referring to his country as the Bolivian country of Venezuela or something like that, I knew exactly what he meant. Most of South America considers itself the product of a fellow named Simon Bolivar, who I believe liberated several parts of South America from Spain, much like George Washington liberated the North American continent from some other folks who we won't name.
Well, they've and they've been ruining that day ever since. If only they had our good guidance, they'd be in a much better position. Am I right?
I can only wonder. So anyway, Bolivian in South America means of Bolivar.
Bolivarian, yeah, not Bolivian, it's Bolivarian. Yeah, you're right.
Bolivarian, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The head of the state of the Bolivarian, or Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. That is, I misspoke, you're absolutely right. And I appreciate you correcting me, Jerry.
I'm pleased to do so, and you have a good evening.
Thanks a lot, mate. 0845 6060 973. The undercurrent of this programme is, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Or, similarly, when was the last time something happened to you for the first time? 0845 6060 973.
Text 84850, tweet at LBC 973. This is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbott.
I enjoy working with people.
Yeah, people. Not these people, just people. Not these specific people, but just, other people. I enjoy working with other people. Abbot Qatada is expected to leave the UK in the next few hours. Wah, 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 wah. It's been lovely, Abu. It's been inspirational. The radical Islamic cleric, and by radical they mean he's to be flown to Jordan to face terror charges after a near decade-long battle to remove him from Britain. The 53-year-old is being deported after both governments agreed that the evidence obtained by torture would not be used in any trial. Don't restrain yourselves on our account. 0845 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's at lbc973. The undercurrent to the programme is when was the last time you did something for the first time? Here is, on perhaps an unrelated topic, a call in Kennington. Hello, Audrey.
Good evening, Nick.
Audrey.
Nick, there was something I thought of a couple of days ago, that I have no visual memory at all. So I only have half a brain I discovered 2 years ago.
You what?
Did you know it's possible that you did not know you do not have a visual memory? When somebody said, oh, I can see something in my mind.
Yeah.
I say the same thing, but in actual fact, I cannot see anything. That side of the mind is completely blank. It's like space. Yeah?
What, in which no one can hear you scream?
Yes, yes.
So if you think of an apple, what happens?
If I think of an apple, because I've seen an apple,
Yeah.
apparently what's happening is that it goes into the audio side. I convert it. So I can tell you the shade of green. I can describe it. When I see green again, I can say, no, it wasn't that shade apple, and it also had red specks or whatever. It was a Cox, it was a Granny Smith, whatever, Rayburn, whatever. But,
Jazz. Let's name all the apple varieties. Yeah.
But no, it's an interesting thing, because it was only when I went to do some basic maths and doing fraction, a teacher discovered this, and I'm 57.
And you've only got half a brain. Is that true?
No, we'll find out, because on the 20-something of this month, I will get a scan to see what's going on.
And so how does this affect your everyday life, then?
Well, it must have done all these years, and I used to think, oh, why couldn't I learn anything in a sequence? But when it comes to history, philosophy, that sort of thing, I'm interested, I get it. English literature, I'm your fan.
Yeah.
Original thought I have to come up with, though, because I can't rely on anything else. I can't go copying, you see, because there's no recollection.
So it's not just pictures, it's everything.
It's everything, absolutely everything. So it means that side is working twice as hard. But the reason why I mention that is that I often think of things and then I forget about them, they're stored away. But a couple of days ago, I thought the Bolivian president, now, I was trying to think, oh, what's Obama plane called? It's Air Force One, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, the Americans, they really are a bullying set of hypocrites, and I've actually loved them all my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I realised it was all under this false pretenses, because I'm seeing what they're really all about these days.
Right, we're talking about government, not people, right?
Well, actually, they're one of the same thing, you know.
No, actually, that's not true.
Well, I don't know. People talk about George Bush. I loved him because George Bush is totally American. He can only be himself, which is an American. You can't disagree with that.
But you started out saying that you didn't like Americans.
Well,
but you like an American.
No.
American.
No, I do like American. I do like Americans, and I've grown up.
So you can like Americans and not like what their government is doing, which is Ed Snowden's position. I
know, but have you seen the support and the philosophy of the Americans? The majority of them, you know.
Well, are you talking about on this subject?
Well, no. I mean, on any given subject. I mean, you know, Nick.
Well, the thing about America, Audrey, is that they never agree about anything. That on any given subject, they're split around about 50-50.
Well, that's true, but about Air Force One, now, the reason why I'm calling them a bunch of bullying hypocrites, can you imagine my darling President Obama, all right, and I'm looking at him now, big question mark.
Yeah. Even though you have no memory of what he actually looks like. He's
got a lot greyer.
Well, that's what office does
no,
to you.
No, seriously, though. can we imagine now, President Obama is going about his business in Air Force One, and somebody impedes his flight path in any way.
Yeah.
And live to tell the tale.
Austria makes him land, do an emergency land in Switzerland, for instance.
I know.
Yeah.
And, I mean, could you imagine what would have happened? A bunch of hypocrites.
I can't get over the fact that they diverted the plane of a leader of a country.
I know.
Who the hell do these people think they are?
Nick, two days ago, I was fuming on behalf of the Bolivian president, and I thought, and the rest of the Western world. I'm thinking to myself, and you guys are all sitting there.
Who, us?
No, not you.
Oh, right.
The Western leaders.
Oh, them.
All sitting there colluding with this. I'm just thinking to
Bunch
myself,
of colluders.
this is out of order.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
Big time. And you know, Venezuela, it's not a good idea for him to go there.
Why not?
Because the Venezuelan, what they think of America, and you know America wants to get oil and all the rest of it down there, all right? That's why they didn't like my friend that died the other day. What's his name? The most beloved president. Everybody mourned worldwide when he went. Mrs. Thatcher, it was only here. Chavez, what's his name? He died a few months ago.
Hugo,
yes, Hugo died. Now, because the Americans have actually assassinated people.
Well, every country on earth has done that. That ain't just America. You name any country, they've done it.
No, if he goes down there, they will have him, unless they send him into the jungle with the natives. And I'd love to see the Americans, because it's part of Venezuela.
Well, fighting wars in jungles, not their speciality. They don't want to get involved in one of those again.
And also, Nick, you know now they're interfering with thinking about going off to space. They've already sort of taken everything from down here.
They're interfering with space
now.
They're
interfering with space. You know, the greedy business and corporation are now heading for space. Well,
there's a lot of space to go around, Audrey. Don't you worry about that. There'll be plenty left for whoever is coming up behind them.
Well, I've told the aliens that any human beings who put in an appearance, what they need to do is
shoot first, ask questions later.
Slap them, probe them, and send them back.
Yeah, with a surprised look on their face. Yeah,
and don't come back.
All right.
Do not trust them bearing fruit.
All right,
them.
I get it. Yeah, it's not just Americans; it's the human race. We're not to be trusted.
We're not seriously.
Yeah, I don't even trust you.
Much, you know. We're not.
Well, we do what we need to do to get by. We seem to be particularly successful on this planet, and this is the only one that we've come into contact with. And I'm sure that if there's any other planets that we find that they can breathe the air and drink the water, then we'll take over there too. We'll spread like a virus. I've turned her down, but I'm still here.
Look, Nick, we need to stand back.
I thought we'd said goodbye. Yes?
We need to stand back and have the ability, here in this country and see what's going on. And if we can't stand back, just go and look at the history book to what happened last
history?
time.
Oh, no. That sounds like lessons.
Boring.
No, I'll just make up my mind without the benefit of any facts. Is it okay if I do that? Thanks very much, Audrey. Cheers, my dear. 0845 6060 973. When was the last time you did something for the first time? This all started with a thing that happened to me, like I said at the beginning of the programme, that I just ran. And I know it sounds like a silly thing to hang an idea on for a show, but it's never happened to me before. There's always been plastic shopping bags at my disposal in my flat. Always. Hundreds of them. Like pouring out of every cupboard and drawer. There's just been no end of them. And I thought that it would never end. Sometimes I thought, well, there's too many, I'm just going to have to throw them away. But that seemed like, I thought, that's not saving the planet. And then, because of these new, bags for life, I got fewer and fewer and fewer of them. And this week, for the first time in my life, I've run out of plastic shopping bags. That's never happened to me before. And when you run out, then you find that you really, really need them. So I thought, sure, why not? It's also a lyric on the most recent Van Halen album. When was the last time you did something for the first time? 0845 6060 973. This message says, I went on a long-haul flight for the first time to Mexico. Whilst there, I swam with dolphins for the first time, too. Dolphins, eh? And what wonderful, gentle creatures they are, says Carol from Ruislip. Well, that's what they would like you to think. Nick, try this one on for size. Last time I did something for the first time will be tomorrow, when I watch a British Wimbledon champion, says Zach in Croydon. When was the last time... well, I can remember the last time that we had a British Wimbledon champion, and it was... Oh, blimey, I forgot what her name is. Virginia Longbottom. Virginia Wade? Was it Virginia Wade? Huh?
Yes.
Virginia Wade. Don't get cross with me. What a mood! Virginia Wade. She did it in the year of the Queen's Jubilee, or something like that. Wasn't that the year that the Sex Pistols were robbed of a #1 place? I believe it was. God Save the Queen was held off the top spot by Rod Bloomin' Stewart. We're sailing...
Rock and roll!
Very disappointing. And I believe that was the very same year that Virginia Wade did her thing. That was back in the era when everything was in black and white. Black and white and brown all over. Here's Tunbridge Wells. Hello, Mark.
Good evening, Nick.
Mark.
Yes, Nick. Do you remember, you were talking about Bruce Springsteen earlier, and I remember when I was working in a place in Blackheath in the early 80s, might have been end of the 70s, and do you remember one of the first DJs to start playing Bruce Springsteen?
It was no, don't tell me. Roger Scott.
Oh, I knew you'd remember. You are absolutely just 22, 24 carat.
Roger Scott was probably the first cool DJ that existed in this country, because he took what, with the possible exception of, there were a couple of them. There was, John Peel was always quite cool. But, yeah, he was. And Alan Freeman was a great stylist. No, he really was. Alan Freeman was tremendous. But Alan Freeman came from Australia.
That's right, he did.
And Roger Scott's style came from America. You know, just before Roger Scott started on our sister station, Capital Radio,
of course,
he no DJ played two songs in a row. They always talked forever in between their songs and poured their oleaginous personality through the radio all over our faces. And he went to America and he heard a thing called FM rock radio, which at the time was much different to how it is now. And you could more or less make up your show live, which is unheard of now. DJs do not make up their show live. It is set in stone before they enter the studio. But these guys would be on for 4 hours in the States, and FM rock radio was a relatively new phenomenon. And they would be picking out tracks from, the Grateful Dead, and they'd follow it with Cream, and then, Pink Floyd would be in here, and all the rest of it. And they'd just think, what would sound great after this track? Oh, I know. And they would just go and reach into the library and pull out something extraordinary, and they'd play half an hour of music without speaking, which was, in this country, unheard of. And when Roger Scott started playing two tracks in a row, it was like a revelation. No one could believe it.
He was so cool. His voice, he had such a lovely voice, didn't he? And on Capital Radio, I think it was in the afternoons, about 4:30 or 4 o'clock he came on. And
he was on for 4 hours, which was also an unheard of stint in those.
Was it 4 hours?
Yeah,
all I remember was it was late afternoon. It'd say like 4:30, and I caught a couple of hours in this job that I was doing, and it seemed to be every single day he started playing. He went, this is like Bruce Springsteen, and he was playing Shelley Darling, and this was like 1980, something like that. And I heard this song every day. I thought, wow, this is incredible, and this DJ's incredible. Why isn't he, like on like Radio 1 or something like that? And people used to go, I know John Peel was good, but people always go on about, like, these, like, obscure, esoteric, like Andy Kershaw. Yeah. Andy Kershaw, when he was playing stuff in the 90s, thought he was, like, really, really cool, like, uber cool. You know, Roger Scott was cooler than All
You know,
of you.
people on the radio are still speaking in that way that all the eshes, the way you used to speak like that. They're still doing that. They're still, even though they don't know what who they're copying, because like the kids today they've got no idea who Roger Scott was, but they're still copying him, even though they never actually heard him. Yeah.
He was incredible, wasn't he?
But he had to come from America. The style had to come from America because the way that British radio was done then was just so excruciatingly, deeply, desperately uncool.
It was, wasn't it? It was totally. Oh, just one other little thing that I know this might sound a bit weird, but the other day I was listening to Radio 4.
Yeah, well, we can't talk about that here. We can talk about Capital Radio until because that's that's within this building. Let's talk about. Let's pretend that you said Classic FM.
Classic FM, but it was Melvin Bragg. What happened? Hello?
Yes.
You're still there? Sorry, my phone's saying my credit's going to go out. Yeah, it was just Melvin Bragg on the radio, and as I heard his voice, I thought he's got that nasal thing that Ed Miliband's got.
Yeah.
Why don't they have a program where
the two of them speak to each other?
Yeah,
that sounds horrific.
That would be so cool, because I could hear him going, I thought, and then Ed Miliband going, I thought, that is it. It's like a pair of...
Right, well, you write it up. You put the format together, Mark, and you sell the programme to a radio station, and we'll split the results 50-50. What do you say?
64 weeks.
It's a deal. 0845 6060 973. Speaking about that, by the way, the clip that I played a couple of times of Boris and Nick on Nick Ferrari's breakfast show. I think somebody needs to have a word with Nick about his microphone technique, because he must sit like right back from the microphone like this, which makes your voice sound a bit tinny. See how kind of tinny and echoey it's gone? And Bozo the Mayor, on the other hand, he speaks right here, so it's all very deep. And I'm sure that he concentrates on making it as deep as he can, because it's like a base off with Nick Ferrari, who's a very deep voiced man too. And so Bozo the Mayor and Nick Ferrari are in competition with each other to see who speaks the lowest. And little Nicky Clegg is all the way back here. Somebody needs to tell him. Get closer to the microphone, Nick. Here's a call in Westminster. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Nick. It's just a quick one. You just revived my memories of Roger Scott. I left school in '72, and he used to be on the show in Capital Radio.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you remember his jingle. If not, I'll sing it to you if you want.
Well, which one?
Well, it was Roger. Oh, good. I don't believe I've forgotten him now. Roger Scott from 3 to 7 with Capital 194. There you go.
They had a fantastic jingle package. When the station first came on the air, I loved that jingle package. And there was one particular jingle that went on for about a minute, and it was just a long build-up over which a DJ could yabber his face off. And it ended with something like Capital in tune with London, yeah.
There you got it.
There you go.
I don't know if you remember, it was a new concept as well back in the early 70s as well. And, you started, I think you started a little bit after Capital. And, like Adrian Love and all that, late night show and all that. So, yeah, it's just good memories they are,
walking down memory lane.
There you go. But Roger Scott, he was a star. I was quite upset when he died, actually.
Yeah. I saw him. He was at the Ideal Home exhibition, and he was doing a show from a booth in the Ideal Home exhibition. The first time I saw him was the only time I ever saw him in person, and you could barely see him inside the booth for the cigarette smoke that was in there. And he had a fag in his hand while he was doing the show, and I thought, you know what, there might be a connection there between dying young and smoking fags.
Yeah, it's awful, wasn't it? Because he had a big head of hair as well, didn't he? I remember... Yeah, it's a good day for you,
All right. Thanks a lot, Stephen. 0845 6060 973. We got sidetracked for talking about things that you have like warm memories about, but that might not actually have been that great. People do talk about the 70s with gold and it was fantastic in the 70s. And you know what? It might not necessarily have been so. And somebody just did some research about Victorian children, seen but not heard. And apparently they were nothing like we persuade ourselves that they were like. We persuade ourselves that they were, very well behaved and never a word was said out of place and so on and so forth. And the truth of the matter is that the reverse is correct. New evidence suggests Victorian children from the seen and not heard generation were not as well behaved as originally thought. This is new research by the University of Manchester. It suggests that Victorian children were, in fact, every bit as unruly as today's. Let me come to that story in just a minute. First, I'll take this caller in Westminster. Hello, Victoria. Victoria's been waiting politely. Thank you for that.
Well, I've only been waiting 30 seconds, for heaven's sake, because Amanda is so wonderful and efficient and charming and delightful and clever. And if I thought as quickly as she did and expressed myself so well, I would be in heaven on earth.
Are we talking about Amanda?
Yes, we are.
What, the woman who works on this show?
Well, the woman who just eats pizza outside and has a fag, yeah.
Exactly.
But we all know it's very funny when you talk. But actually, you've really helped me because I'm now going to give up a friend who does nothing but criticise me and doesn't see all the lovely side about me.
What kind of a friend is that?
One like you. But we all know you're doing it for the programme. And we all know that afterwards, a big bunch of flowers is delivered to Amanda with a chauffeur-driven Rolls-Royce to take her home.
Well, she does. She is chauffeured home. That's correct, aren't you, Amanda?
I'm chauffeured home with many other people.
Yes.
And okay, well, one day you'll provide her with a white Rolls-Royce and some flowers and chocolates, I hope.
Well, she can dream.
Oh, dear, to quote Nick Ferrari. You must do the programme about things that we remember warmly that aren't so warm, like the 50s, because...
well, it's funny you should say that, because I've actually written that down on a piece of paper. And it's all about this next story, this Victorian children being the awful kids that they actually were, and not the delightful angels that we persuaded ourselves.
I'd be awful if I was stuffed up a chimney too. I'm awful without being stuffed up a chimney. But if you go back to the 60s, tights that were always hanging around your knees because they didn't have Lycra and they weren't long enough.
Oh,
no tampons, no birth control. Horrendous. That's why girls nowadays look stunning because of Lycra, good makeup, hair extensions, blow drying. In the 60s, you actually had to be good looking to look good.
Now you can just fake it.
Yeah, now you can just fake it, which is fantastic. It makes it an evil playing field, I was about to say. I left out an L. A level playing field.
Well, it's interesting that you came up with that, because that's precisely the backup topic that I had. Well, I might... all right, the rest of this show's about that. How does that sound?
Oh, yeah, but do it next week, because actually, well, no, you just get lots of old fogies like me talking. But actually, it runs into what you were talking about earlier, when you were talking about DJs running songs into each other without a break. I'm afraid you're too young and beautiful to know about Radio Caroline, I think.
Well, no, I listen to Radio Caroline. From A Point at Sea to the Circles of Your Mind, this is the new Radio Caroline.
Were you in your pram?
No, I can remember that.
Ronan O'Reilly, and their office was in Chesterfield Street.
Well, I don't know about that. I did make inquiries as to whether I could go and work there when I was very, very young and I hadn't had a professional job yet. And they said, yeah, sure, why not? We don't pay you any money. And I said, oh, see ya.
Well, I don't think they had a lot because I don't think they really did any advertising. It was but they did 2 in a row. I think because they had to run to the side and vomit all the time.
Nice.
Because I went out to the boat once when I was in my 20s, and it's like it was 2 inches out of the water. You went out on a tender, and it was a very small boat, and it rocked all over the place, and it really was only just out of the water. But in those days, I mean, they had these lovely mid-Atlantic accents. Brian Vaughan, Keith Skews, I adored. And I think a friend looked him up on the internet. He's still alive, which is wonderful, and still, successful and happy. So I think, but they did the 2 in a row thing very early on. I think they had to. I mean, I don't think I think they really did just reach for a track and put it on, or maybe they carried them under their arms into a very small studio. But I think they just started pop music on the radio.
Well, the way it used to work was we used to put the records as they used to be, and then the CDs as it was taken over on the wall behind where you would sit, and you'd reach behind you and just pluck initially whatever you thought would sound good And after a while, it was whatever you were instructed to play off the wall and stick it on next. And now, of course, all of that is completely gone, and you just press the big green button marked next.
Oh, honestly, it's a bit sad, isn't it, the way some things are changing? I mean, some change is good, but some change isn't so good.
Well, but this is exactly what you started out talking about, that we seem to remember the past with unjustified affection.
Well, it's rose-coloured spectacle syndrome,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Yeah.
We forget the things we don't want to remember, and then we just
Precisely.
end up with the rose-coloured spectacle.
And we ascribe qualities to things that don't actually justify them. If we heard some of that old radio now, we'd be laughing our we'd be rushing to the off switch.
Well, they did the very... I don't listen to music on the radio now because it makes me sad, but when I listened to music in those days...
What?
They always used to talk until the singing started, and I thought that was very clever. They just got that down. Yeah, music makes me really sad and makes me cry.
Talk-ups.
I just don't listen to it anymore.
DJs love talk-ups because they got such an effervescent thrill when you manage to hit the vocal. Listeners hated it because you were talking all over their records.
I know, and we were all recording it on reel-to-reel machines.
Well,
and
I
I still
did that
have
too,
in
yeah.
my attic reel-to-reel Radio Caroline, but I don't think the Rolling Stones could have been that good tonight because I couldn't hear them through my bedroom window, and usually I can when they're in Hyde Park. So I think someone's turned the volume down or
Well,
something.
maybe they didn't wake up in time.
Oh, maybe, yes, maybe. But anyway, I couldn't hear them, which was a bit sad. The man who told us about Simon Bolivar, he was wonderful because I used to walk around Belgrave Square a lot, and there's a statue of Simon Bolivar, and I always thought, who's he? Now I know.
Now you know. Wow, this show's like an education, ain't it?
Negative.
Thanks a lot, Victoria. 0845 6060 973. Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3. The time 12:30.
Orky/dorky.
I think I was having one of those Keith Richards flashbacks. Is that story about the football true? Can I just say...
What?
That's the worst story about football I've ever heard in my life, including any story that's got Paul Gascoigne in it. I am stunned. They hung, drew, and quartered him. They killed the referee 3 times. And as the story unfolded, I mean, or as brief as it was, I thought, no. What? Really? You're making it up. Apparently not. Wow. That's not a happy story. 0845 6060 973. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Texts and emails. I had a burger today, says this one, for the very first time at Burger King. It took me 20 minutes to finish it. Well, were you eating it with chopsticks? How can a burger take 20 minutes to finish? This says, so impossibly hot today, nearly passed out at the park. Regarding the last time I did something for the first time, I went on the chairlift thingy over London. Terrible experience, says Jacob. I'd forgotten that was there, actually. It's not a chairlift, it's a gondola, isn't it? It's, what do they call it? They would want to call it a Boris something. I wonder if he has a PR department who throws out all these suggestions. Oh, let's call it a Boris bike. Don't say that we said, but we'll call it a Boris bike, shall we? But they wanted to call it a Boris, but they couldn't think of a word that began with B that described the thing. It's a gondola, right? It's like a chairlift kind of thing. I'd forgotten it was there. I want to go on that. What was wrong with it? We'll never know. This says, I drove a brand new bus today for the first time, says Joey B. Ah, right. It was one of those buses, eh? How hot was it? That's a silly... I mean, you know, as much as I think that Thomas Heatherwick's design studio has done some fantastic things, I mean, they had a great exhibition at the Victoria and Albert Museum, and some of the things they've come up with are unbelievably great. And as I said yesterday, he's the fellow that did the cauldron for the Olympics. But what a stupid idea to invent a bus that you can't open the windows. Presumably it wasn't his idea. He was just, designing it to their specific instructions. But what a charming faith in the technology of air conditioning. And by the way, one of the noisiest things about buses is the air conditioning part. Let's hope they fixed that. Hounslow, hello, John.
Hello, Nick.
John.
I just wanted to tell you about
the time I met two DJs from Radio Caroline.
Ding, ding. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, I was with a girlfriend of mine at the time, driving along, and these two guys were thumbing a lift. And they were dressed in long Victorian jackets with velvet collars and top hats. And, so they asked us where the college was. So we said we were going that way. So they got in the back of the car, and it was a two-door car, so the girlfriend had to get out and lift the seat forward while they got in. And when we were driving along, they were talking, and one of them said, I'm Johnny Walker, and this is Robbie Dale. And he asked us our names and that, and he said they'd give us a mention on the radio in the morning, which was a bit exciting for us at the time.
Yeah.
So, anyway, while I was driving along, I remembered that where they sat in the back seat, I had an old sheet, and it had a gearbox laying on it. When they got out and walked up the road, they both had great big black greasy marks across their coats. And Robbie Dale said hello, but Johnny Walker didn't.
Right.
So that was that. And at the same time, the bravest person I ever saw in my life was when they used to have the fairground at Battersea Park, Battersea Fun Fair.
Yeah.
And we went there, and we went on the Big Dipper, and there was a guy actually stood up at the front holding a handbrake, which he pulled forward as he went down. And I thought, that guy's got to be brave to do that.
What, he did the entire trip standing?
Standing up with a great big lever, which was a brake. And as he went down, he pulled on this brake to slow it a little bit.
Health and safety hadn't been invented at that time, had it?
Couldn't have possibly been, Nick, no.
I used to think that the guy that spanned the cars on the Wurlitzer were the coolest people on earth. But, then I grew up and found otherwise.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for walking us down memory lane there, John. Cheers, mate. 0845 6060 973. When was the last time you did the... how does it go? When was the last time you did something for the first time? Yeah, there it is. When was the last time you did something for the first time? By text and email, this says, Hi Nick, for the first time ever, I spent the afternoon making candy floss at a garden party at the care home where I work. Beautiful weather, great entertainment, and all the residents joined in too. Was rather sticky when I got home, though, says Angela. Did you get some on you, Angela? How do you make candy floss? How do you make candy floss?
Like that?
If only this was TV, that was priceless. She's just waving her hand around in a circle.
I'm spinning sugar.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not how you make it.
I think...
Stupid.
Well, how do you know? You don't even know how to make it.
Well, you have a big machine.
Which you spin... They go like that, don't they?
Yeah, but
you heat
just
up
waving
sugar.
your arm around in the air is not going to affect...
Well, then why do they do it if it doesn't do anything?
But you need it's not the waving your arm part, it's the machine.
Well, it helps.
Awful. Well, you don't. It might. You don't. That's the difference between you and waving your arm around, in case you were wondering. This message says, this afternoon I had my grey hair dyed reddish-brown for the first time, says Christine. Well, at least it's not purple, Christine. And speaking of radio memorabilia, says this message, I used to have a glass pint milk bottle with an LBC advertisement on it. It said, LBC 97.3, more snap, less crackle, no pop. My wife dropped it on a stone floor and I miss it. Are there still any around, says Peter in Surrey. No, Peter. I've never even heard of such a thing. And I would personally break it if I saw one. Here's a call in Manchester. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Dave. I hear you want to know how to make candy floss.
Yes.
It's quite simple. You've got a machine with a round metal bowl with a little motor and a canister in the middle. You pour the sugar in, and it spins around very, very quickly. Dissolve the sugar, which comes out in that lovely, fluffy strings. You put a little wooden stick, and you twirl it round and round inside the bowl, and you've got your candy floss. As simple as that.
Well, it's not simple, though. First, you've got to get a machine. Where on earth do you get a machine?
Oh, yeah, you've got to know the right people to get the machine.
Right.
And the best point about it is because when you're making it for the kids at the fair, it then gets all over your fingers, and you're busy pulling it off all over the place, and it's such good fun.
Yes.
But it is quite simple, though, to make the candy floss.
Well, apart from the buying the machine part.
Well, yeah, I've got a friend that has one, so it's a bit easier.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll know where to come if I ever get a hankering.
If you ever get a hankering for candy floss, although once you start making it, you never want to eat it again.
Well, I can imagine. Yeah. Once you've eaten it, you never really want to eat anything again. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Dave.
All right. You're welcome.
0845 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at lbc973. So this is what I was talking about earlier on, the Victorian children. And that nice lady that I was speaking to, she suggested almost the exact same thought that I had, which was, were things not as good as we remember them? Now, everybody has the tendency to think of the past through like rose-tinted spectacles, as though they're looking at the past through rose-tinted spectacles. And we remember the good bits and we forget the bad bits. And we also ascribe better qualities to the things that don't necessarily deserve them. Like the way radio used to be. The way radio used to be was actually excruciatingly awful, by the most part. New evidence suggests Victorian children from the seen and not heard generation were not as well behaved as originally thought. This is the University of Manchester. Research there suggests Victorian children were, in fact, every bit as unruly as today's. PhD student Ruth has carried out an archaeological dig and studied children's behaviour at parks in Manchester and London and West Yorkshire. The parks were built during the 1800s to give people in towns and cities access to clean air. So, yummy. She also looked at park bylaws, newspaper reports, photographs, postcards and children's literature and found evidence of smoking and drinking and poaching. PhD student Ruth said, despite the belief that all Victorian children were kept out of sight, there was actually a growing desire to let them be children and play outdoors. However, this led to a raft of bylaws. Swinging through trees, climbing trees, drinking alcohol and eating food were banned in many areas. Banned from eating food in a park. PhD student Ruth said that all of this was evidence of poor behaviour. Well, they wouldn't have a bylaw if people weren't doing it. Newspapers reported that children and youths were sitting on park benches, shouting abuse at passers-by. Children would also illegally fish in park lakes for ornamental fish or steal fruit off trees. And in Manchester's Whitworth Park, researchers have found evidence of broken bottles, plate fragments and seafood shells. When it was opened, the park was considered one of the finest in Manchester, boasting a boating lake, a pavilion, an observatory, bandstand and elaborate flower beds. However, nannies would often have to steer prams between groups of drunks, sleeping on the grass. Well, that sounds like Manchester. In addition, she found evidence of children jumping over fences to paddle in the lakes, chasing sheep and deer which grazed in the parks at the time, and making rods to catch ornamental fish in the lakes. PhD student Ruth said, I think we have a really negative view of children these days, especially in parks and public areas. We look back to a golden age when children were seen and not heard, yet my research shows that this ideal was not prevalent at all. I think we have a tendency to glorify the past on a very limited understanding of what was actually going on.
Correct.
Says PhD student Ruth. So were things not as good as we remember them? And do we over-romanticise the past? I wonder if we'll get anything in the last section of this show. 0845. Well, add it to what we were also talking about before. When was the last time you did something for the first time? 0845 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's at lbc973. What else? Well, I've got no end of things. I don't know if it's worth starting any of them, though. It seems so close to the end of the show to start talking about... Would you want to pick a topic? I'll go through what I've got.
right.
Oh, now callers are starting... Now listeners are starting to pick fights with each other. This says, the cable car is a superb ride. I can't believe you haven't tried it. I did it for the first time last October, and I was blown away. Pun intended. Blown away. It's a couple of minutes, up and over the Thames. He says, you fly across the river like a bird. Like a bird in the sky. Do you remember fly through the... Nimble. Do you remember Nimble?
Right.
Nimble. Well, no, I'm just being... let's see, we've been talking about nostalgia, and suddenly I'm remembering the old Nimble television advert. You remember Nimble, don't you?
I know what Nimble is, but I don't know what you're
Does it still exist as a product?
It does.
Does it?
Yeah.
Like I said, it's an excellent product. Everyone should try some. You fly across the river like a bird, wobbling a little as the car is wafted in the wind. There's nothing worth seeing on the other side, but who cares, because you have the return flight to thrill your senses. I think that might be overstating it somewhat. Was that an email from Qatar? Gosh, I wish they were called something else. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. Well, I just picked one at random. Calls have dried up. People aren't remotely interested in anything I'm saying. They're just sort of like sitting back with their feet up, waiting to be amused and entertained. I'll pick, how about, well, nothing really appeals. What about, should we just bellyache about banks? No, let's talk about, MEPs. That'll give us something to get all red in the face about. You know our lot, a lazy, good-for-nothing lot. Well, they ain't got nothing on the European Parliament. The European Parliament was embroiled in yet another scandal after MEPs were accused of claiming £300 expenses for a few minutes' work. Two politicians were filmed on a hidden camera, arriving moments before the evening deadline, after which MEPs cannot claim a daily allowance of €300 expenses. A scam which is known as sign in and sod off. And when the Italian Raffaele Baldassari and the Czech Miloslav Ransdorf were confronted, they reacted with anger to questions about their expenses as they left the Brussels building a few minutes later. So in other words, they just come in, sign that they're here, and then bleeped off in order to claim their €300 expenses for the day. A reporter Tom Staal from the Dutch satirical television station Greensteel TV. This reporter was manhandled after approaching both politicians for a comment. Mr. Staal asked Ransdorf, a member of the Communist Party of Bohemia and Moravia, if he is collecting €300 for doing nothing, before adding it's not normal for someone who turns up to work at 6 p.m. to leave at 6:05. The furious MEP lashed out at the reporter's microphone. And the reporter was met with even more hostility when approaching Europe's European People's Party member, Baldassari, who tried to throw him out of a lift. Which is a lot more dramatic in saying it than it actually probably was in real life. He didn't throw him off a building, he tried to throw him out of a lift. After watching the long-standing MEP sign in to qualify for the expense, the reporter asked, it's 6:30 in the evening. Isn't it a bit late to be arriving for work? You just signed in, you collected your €300 for your expenses, but actually you don't have any expenses for today. And the lawyer-turned-politician claims not to have understood the question, before trying to grab the microphone. Then an unseemly shoving match breaks out. When asked for a quote, a UKIP spokesman said the previous response from the European Parliament, when a reporter uncovered this going on before, was to clamp down on transparency and ban cameras from where MEPs signed in. Yeah, well, that sounds like the actions of the state. Don't fix the problem, fix the leaking of the problem. A UKIP spokesman said, if you just turn up and sign in and do nothing, you can earn a decent sum. Yeah, we're in the wrong business here, Amanda.
I don't have to tell me.
A spokesman for the European Parliament said, contrary to the suggestion made by the journalist, the signature is not to receive money for work. That, in fact, is the salary. The signature is to prove that the MEP's presence is to prove the MEP's presence in Brussels, so that he or she can be reimbursed for the cost of accommodation and meals, etc. MEPs usually do not live around the corner of the Parliament, but often far away, for example in the Czech Republic or in Italy. An MEP, having spent Monday in his constituency, but having to be in Brussels from Tuesday, will have to spend the night in Brussels, hence the per diem for Monday. That is what they said. And you know what? We could debate this. Well, they could debate it in the House of Lords, except they're on holiday from the 30th of July. Do you know when they come back? They're on holiday the 30th of July. Have a wild stab in the dark. When do you think they come back? No, you're way out. The 8th of October. I'm not making that up. They go on holiday on the 30th of July, and they come back on the 8th of October. This is our very own House of Lords. But after they come back on the 8th of October, and before they go on holiday again, less than a month later, they could debate it. Except that they couldn't, because they do the exact same thing. They show up, and they pop their head around the corner, and claim their expenses, and swan off to dine on Swan. That is what they do. So it's bad over there, but it's just as bad over here. A text from Peter in Surrey says, I bought one of the LBC glass milk bottles in a junk shop a few weeks ago, so keep looking. Says Helen, about Peter in Surrey. Huh? I got that the wrong way around.
Yeah, because I was just trying to tell you that you got it wrong.
Right. Well, it's very important that I get that right.
Well, yeah, it is for Helen and for Peter.
No one cares. But she's right, or he's right, or whoever it was that sent that message. Hi, Nick. Christmas was the first time I went ice skating in Hyde Park at the Winter Wonderland, and it was brill. My 21-year-old daughter took me. I'm 52, so I'm glad I did it, said Angela. Very, very dangerous.
Warning, warning.
Do not skate on ice. Only skate on concrete. Much less slippy. Winter Wonderland is great. They should have a Winter Wonderland in the summer. I really enjoy it, but it's too blooming cold. It's freezing in the winter. Why don't they have a park with amusements in the summer? They could call it Summer Wonderland. I'd go. This says you can't compare the Victorian age with personal memories. It's not within living memory. And the 70s were great, says Polly in N10. No, they weren't. Piles of dead bodies in the street, Polly. Rats picking through the rubbish that remained uncollected for years. The charts awash with chirpy, chirpy, cheep, cheep. And endless ABBA, which is all right, I suppose. Excruciating with the 70s. But if you had to pick one decade and to live with musically for the rest of your life, if you could just pick one decade and you could only listen to that decade's music for the rest of your life, it would have to be the 70s. I've got that right, don't I?
Yes.
Because it started with the sort of psychedelic hippie. The 70s had everything musically. And perhaps it's because things were so gruesomely awful in the 70s that there was an artistic explosion. Artists exploded all over the place. First there was rock, sort of psychedelic hippiness, and then came stadium rock and supergroups and so on, and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and the Stones and the Ooh and all that good stuff. And then that sort of petered out, and it was eventually replaced, after they became just too silly for words, with punk and hip-hop and disco, which all exploded at the same time. And there's never been a period, there's never been one decade where so much happened. And it's probably because things were so dreadful that young people concentrated their efforts not on lolling about, but on, expressing their displeasure. So the 70s were great, but only musically speaking. As far as fashion goes, it was an absolute catastrophe. If you look at anything that was made in the 70s, just look at how people looked. Even good-looking people looked dreadful in the 70s. Even you would have looked awful in the 70s, Amanda. And I really mean that.
I was a baby in the 70s.
Yeah.
And only halfway through the 70s as well. So I looked great.
Yeah, I don't wish to know that, but thanks very much anyway. Now, here are my winning lottery numbers. I've got a new system. You know, that system last night was a tremendous success, apart from being a dreadful failure.
You press the button twice.
Yeah, now I've got a new system.
3 times?
Because there's 3 selections that you make when you are choosing your numbers. And first you have to choose what day you want it, either Wednesday or Saturday or Friday.
Right.
And then you choose how many weeks you want to play, and then you press the unlucky button number. So I've decided that, ha-ha, charade you are, I'll do it in reverse. I'll pick my unlucky button first, and then I'll select how many weeks I want to play and what day I want to play it on, thereby confusing and confounding the machine.
I love the way that this is now a battle of wits against you and the random selector.
Well, it knows I'm coming, because I have to sign into my account, so it knows it's me. Right, here's my first winning number, 13.
No, it's not.
19, 25, 27, 35 and 30...
You got one.
One?
You got 27, but carry on, you might have had a...
35.
Oh, no.
46.
Sorry. No.
Oh, what a great game.
I hate it!
Awful. And finally, a team of Detroit area police officers responded to a suspected domestic violence dispute, which turned out not to be. This is a very serious story. A concerned neighbour called 911 after she heard what sounded like a domestic violence dispute between a woman and her boyfriend living in the same apartment complex. One of the neighbours heard somebody yelling, a female yelling she was possibly being hit, yelling, "Stop! No!" The local police chief, Harry, said. The concerned neighbour also reported that she heard a repeated loud noise between the shouts. The officers reportedly arrived at the residence within minutes. When they knocked at the door, the woman who answered said that she had indeed been shouting, "Stop!" but that her boyfriend was not beating her. The female that was inside stated that her boyfriend had continued to pass gas, and she was yelling at him to stop. The officers then cleared the scene expeditiously, the police report states. Well, you would, wouldn't you, Christo?
Yes, I definitely would. Wouldn't I? Would I?
I believe you would.
I think I would.
Yeah.
I think you're right in saying I would.
What could those loud noises possibly have been?
I don't know. If I'd been listening to you, I'd be able to answer that.
Yeah. Well, ask Amanda. Oh, no, she wasn't listening either.
Oh, no. No, oh, God, she's fallen asleep now.
Sorry.
She was drunk. Anyway, thank you, Nick. Coming up from 1 o'clock, we're going to talk about the front page of the Mail on Sunday and possibly a new low for a rather odious individual.